Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be on the radio just a couple minutes. It's our top of the hour break going on.
Stores, but there are only two that are advertising with the Steve Kane Show.
That's right.
We're talking about the Deerfield location, a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of Federal, and of course the Beach Ace Hardware.
Welcome, everyone.
At 232 Commercial Boulevard, a half block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. Very, very special locations. Be sure to mention Steve Kane sent you.
The Steve Kane
Here we
Show
go.
is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices.
Morning. Hey, Terry.
Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll free 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll-free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE 1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE
Hey.
1. And
I'll explain. All right. Yes. Welcome, one and all. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Live weekdays from 6 until 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Overnight rebroadcast midnight till 6 a.m. That's right. We broadcast live on the radio on AM 1470, 95.3 FM, 96.9, and of course 103.9 on the FM radio dial. Welcome, one and all. In fact, weekdays, you can listen to the Steve Kane Show on those 4 radio stations, midnight until 9 a.m. Holy smokes, that's a long time. From midnight till 9 a.m., Monday through Friday on those radio stations. You can also listen to us online on the iHeartRadio app or the TuneIn app, which you can connect to your Bluetooth in your car and listen to us in stereophonic sound there. And just search on the iHeartRadio app or the TuneIn app. Search for us by our station call letters, WWNN, 2 W's and 2 N's, all right? And you can listen to us there. And I'll tell you, if you listen on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, or one of the FMs, and you're an AM listener typically, the first time I started listening to the show on the way in on the FM stations and on iHeartRadio, I did not even recognize my voice the first time I heard it. Like, who is that guy? And it was me, because things sound so different between that and the AM signal. So welcome, and it is Tuesday morning, the 2nd of June, 2020, and we really got to talk, and I want to take your calls on this, and want to talk about the president's announcement yesterday. No questions, did something a president, in my memory, has never done. And that is walk from the Oval Office across the street of the White House through the front gate to the church across the way. I remember there was one president, I can't remember if it was the Clintons or the second Bushes or the first Bushes, but it was one of the Bushes or the Clintons. The president-elect stays at the Blair House, which is the guest house of the White House, across the street from the White House. And there was one inauguration day I was watching live, and the president-elect went from the Blair House to the White House, and they drove there. It was like 50 feet, and I've never seen them actually walk. I did hear stories of Richard Nixon walking to the gate and talking to protesters on occasion. I don't know if that's true or urban legend. I don't know. But to see the president of the United States, this year, I don't care what your political persuasion is. I love Donald Trump. There is no one who's a greater supporter of Donald Trump than me. No one. Unless their last name is Trump. And I may support him more than even some people whose last name is Trump, because, parents and everything, there's always something you disagree on, right? I will never disagree with Donald Trump. You will never hear me criticize President Trump. But regardless, I'm biased, and that's okay. I'm not embarrassed to tell you. No matter what your political persuasion is, left, right, middle, extreme on any side, this has been a rough year for this country. I was talking on the show a lot yesterday about how 2020 has probably been the most difficult year for this country in my lifetime. At least in my coherent lifetime. I mean, I was born in '71. I mean, I used to see all the History Channel documentaries and the films in school, and I've seen, about the 60s. And I thought, oh my goodness, the 60s were just crazy. Terrible things going on. It didn't seem like anyone was getting a break in the 60s. And now we have impeachment hearing, followed by an impeachment trial, followed by a pandemic, followed by economic disaster with over 30 million Americans out of work. And now we've got nationwide demonstrations, nationwide violence, several police officers killed shot last night. I don't know, did any of the officers die? I believe 4 officers around the country were shot last night. I don't know if any of them died. I mean, this is terrible, and there's very little light at the end of the tunnel right now because we keep getting clobbered, right? Putting the country through an impeachment trial is one thing. You can have some political game with that, and everybody knows what it is. But a global pandemic, and then the economic and unemployment crisis, and now this, this is like, we're getting clobbered, boom, boom, boom. And President Trump walking across the street to the church and clearing out those demonstrators in front of the White House, photo op, absolutely, absolutely. But why is that bad? The greatest presidential photo op in history, in my opinion, would be George W. Bush at Ground Zero on the rubble with the bullhorn with his arm around the firefighter, right? I hear you, and soon the people that knock down these buildings will hear you. Remember all of that? That's number one. Regardless of what a never-Trumper he is and what a boob he always was, that was a big presidential moment, but it was a photo op. Like yesterday, okay? America was attacked. If you remember, that was a big deal. I remember President George W. Bush, he flew by helicopter, and not the Marine One. He flew by an Army gunship into Manhattan with the entire New York congressional delegation, which included Jerry Nadler, of all people. Can you imagine? And they went to Ground Zero, and he went to Ground Zero because he wanted to show America and the world that we were here, we were going to fight, America was okay. You know why he did it, and you know what? And a lot went into that. A lot of America not only was just recently attacked in a major act of war on 9/11, but we didn't know what else was coming. We didn't know if there would be more or not. And President Bush went there. In fact, he went back to the White House on the night of September 11th. Against all advice, they wanted him to stay at that NORAD mountain out west where war games, and Stargate and all that stuff take place, right? And he went back to the White House. And when he went back to the White House on 9/11 and he went to Ground Zero a couple days after the attack, there was a massive security apparatus costing millions upon millions of dollars to make things safe for the president for symbolic photo opportunities. President Bush getting off the helicopter the night of September 11th and walking into the White House, sleeping, that was a big deal, and it helped the country. Going to Ground Zero. And yesterday, too, with President Trump going to the church that had been attacked, was very, very important symbolically. And if you go back to great moments in presidential history and you see photos and videos, most all of these things are photo ops, but photo ops are all of a sudden are bad. It's very interesting that CNN, they're the ones who instantly, with Jim Acosta, started the photo op. I was watching it live on CNN, and Acosta was about to have a meltdown. And Jim Acosta started the photo op narrative, the photo op talking point of the left. And I find it interesting that people that are in the visual business, which is television news, are taking issue with things that are done for visual symbolism. I mean, they're in the business of presenting images in the television news. So is everything they do, why? Let me give you an example. Why, when CNN reporters like Jim Acosta and others are reporting from the White House, why do they stand on the front lawn with the White House behind them? Why don't they stand facing the White House and just show some grass or the old executive building, which is next door, right? Why do they have the visual? It's a photo opportunity. We're here. I'm at the White House. You can see it behind me. You know, everything they do is a photo. And that's not bad. That's a good thing. But all of a sudden, someone takes a photograph. I mean, and all these people that are saying photo op, photo op, photo op, how many of them have Instagrams with photos all over them? You know, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm putting stuff up all the time. I was driving down US 1 here in Boca. There's this really cool building. It looks kind of Art Deco-y, 70s office building-ish. And I took a picture with my nighttime camera on the iPhone 11 Pro. I put it on my Instagram. How many of you are posing for pictures that are criticizing President Trump as having a photo op on your Instagram all the time? Yeah, come on. I mean, this is a visual society. All those great photographs. I watched the History Channel documentary on Ulysses S. Grant over the weekend. If you haven't seen it, it's 3 parts. Watch all 3. Pretty amazing. I learned more about Ulysses S. Grant in this History Channel documentary than I learned in my in college education. It was amazing. I didn't realize. Well, anyway, they were showing a lot of the old photographs of President Grant or General Grant with President Lincoln. Those are photo ops. Photo ops. You know, that's what, the most famous photo op that people don't think is a photo op. What about President Kennedy at his desk where John JFK Jr. is playing underneath? You think that just happened and the photographer photo op? There's a very famous photograph of President Kennedy with from the back in the Oval Office, leaning against the table, looking out the window, and you see that photo op, and I guess he's supposed to be pondering a decision in the Cuban Missile Crisis or something. You don't think that, you think that just happened? Oh, let me ponder out the window of the Cuban. He was probably leaning against the desk to give himself some relief from his massive back pain, but these are all photo ops. That's the society that we're in. So I don't understand why a symbolic photo op of the president to show strength in the government, that the country is still stable and all this. I don't understand why that is such a bad thing. Yes, where John F. Kennedy Jr. was playing is the same place that Monica Lewinsky was playing during the Clinton era, in the same desk too. All right, so listen, I'll take a break, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. Photo op or great moment in presidential history yesterday? Triple H, go Kane 1. It can be both. 888-465-2631. I was so proud of President Trump when he walked across that line yesterday and out the front gate, weren't you? Yeah. 888-465-2631. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. My name is Brian Craig. We'll take our first break of the day. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, please do. So much to discuss. Don't go anywhere.
Owners, this is Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. I'm here to
Be right
cut your
back.
electric bill and save you a lot of money. Perhaps even eliminate your electric bill altogether. We do this by making your entire home energy efficient by upgrading some or all of the following: roofs, doors, windows, insulating your attic, AC systems and ducts, hot water heaters, and even adding solar.
Good morning, everyone.
Energy-efficient improvements that actually pay for themselves over a short period of time. Our program is designed to make the savings on your electric bill.
Oh, so why I didn't stream yesterday? I actually did stream yesterday before the show, and I thought what I did yesterday before the show, I did a live stream right before I went on the air. I thought that was more important than actually streaming the show yesterday, and I wanted people to go and watch that. So if you haven't, go and watch it.
939-1500. 954-939-1500 to start saving money now.
Any lab tests now at Boca and Coral Springs are the best labs to go to when you need quick and affordable lab work that's private and accurate. Don't go to those other labs where you have to wait hours just to be seen by an unfriendly lab tech. Everything at any lab test now at Boca and Coral Springs is first class. The labs are super clean. The techs highly skilled and professional. Plus, the prices are the lowest you will find. Guaranteed. If your time is valuable, and I know it is, you cannot wait around to get your lab work. Any lab test now at Boca and Coral Springs are the places you need to go. Sometimes you got to be responsible. With no appointment, no doctor's order or prescription necessary. In and out in 15 minutes or less. And they're always friendly and courteous. When you go to any lab test now at Boca and Coral Springs, you are putting your health care in your own hands. You are in control. They have every test you need, whether it's a blood test, urine test, drug test, STD test, or any other lab test. Any lab test now of Boca and Coral Springs have you covered. Any lab test now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto and Hillsboro, on the east side of State Road 7. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood, near the Coral Square Mall. Call any lab test now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any lab test now of Coral Springs, 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca, and any lab test now of Coral Springs. I can see it, Katina. About them on the Steve Kane Show. We see you.
Listen to the Steve
We
Kane
see your
Show
chat.
on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back, one and all. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. You're on the radio. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Down in Baltimore right now, but I'll be down in about 7 hours. But in any case,
You're in Baltimore? What are you doing in Baltimore, Maryland? Are you up there with Scott Presler to clean the trash out of the city? What are you doing in Baltimore?
well, my flight comes out of Baltimore today, not out of D.C., but I was in D.C. during the demonstration yesterday. I sent you a photo of the girl that got run over by a policeman on a horseback.
Oh, my goodness. Did you get tear gassed, Al? Did you get tear gassed?
No, I didn't get close enough for that. I mean, I was planning to. There was no way I was on High Street. It was on High Street and 18th Street, and.
What are you doing on High Street? Meeting with some lobbyists? What are you doing on High Street?
Well, I mean, Union Station the Amtrak takes you to Baltimore. So I was preparing to take the Amtrak to Baltimore.
Okay, so tell me what happened. You called now. Just for full disclosure, Al. This is Liberal Al. He called me before the show, and he said he witnessed something. So I want to hear this story. So you saw this. You saw a protester get run over by a cop on a horse.
Four girls said that to me. I didn't.
Oh, you didn't see it.
The four girls who were tending to her wound saw it. So I'm not going to doubt the four girls that said that happened.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it either. I mean, I was watching on TV when they cleared out the area in front of the White House. So I would imagine some people, I can see that happening. Yeah. Let me ask you, in Washington yesterday, what were they protesting against? What was the point of the protest? Because I think it was a little unclear. What was the protest yesterday for, in D.C. in particular?
The fact that only one officer has been charged with murder. I mean, the other.
Yeah, well, I in the news this morning, in these protests nationwide, at least 4 police officers were shot yesterday. I don't know if any of them, Pat. Yeah, so where are the demonstrations to bring justice to the shooters of these 4 first responding police officers last night? Yeah, we see you, Katina.
I hope, for the sake of their families, that they were just wounded and not killed.
Well, listen, Al, come on. The officer. This is an interesting thing. That's I'm not. You're not going to miss your train by talking to me, are you? Is your train about to leave? You're on a plane? Oh, they're asking you to what? Put the phone away and turn it in airplane mode? Okay, well, go ahead. Okay, go ahead and do it. Turn the phone off. He's on the plane. He's on the plane, people. Guy travels more. This is this is a very strange situation that's going on in America today. Okay? And with everything that's happened since the murder George Floyd. And by the way, George Floyd's brother, what a great man he is. Terrence is his name, Terrence Floyd. You know, Terrence Floyd, the brother of George Floyd, came out. I'll play the audio later, and I was so impressed with him. Calling for calm, civility, take it to the ballot box, vote. And I like what he said, vote at every level. But what's going on in this country this week is very strange. There have been high-profile, racially charged incidents with white officers and blacks forever, right? I mean, my goodness, remember Amadou Diallo? Oh, which was there were two incidents in New York. And notice these racially charged incidents typically happen in Democrat towns like New York or Minneapolis. There were two high-profile incidents in New York. Not Eric Gardner, that's another one, but Diallo was an African immigrant, and then there was the guy in the police station. One was shot over 160 times by 3 officers. Remember that? In the vestibule of a building. And then there was the other one incident that was sodomized. And I can't remember, what was the name of the one who was the guy that was sodomized by officers, and which was the one that was shot over 160 times in the vestibule? I can't remember which. If anybody can remember the names, let me know. But there have been these high-profile incidents over the years, and really I guess it started for most of us because is Rodney King. And these are terrible incidents. What happened to Rodney King was wrong. What happened to Eric Garner was wrong. What happened to George Floyd was murder. There's a lot of these controversial incidents, and there's always been a divide. There's always been a divide. When George Zimmerman murdered Trayvon Martin, there's always been a divide. But not this time. Not this time. With George Floyd, there is almost 100% agreement with Americans and with our government officials that George Floyd was murdered by this police officer and that he should go to prison. I've never seen such unity involved in one of these high-profile incidents as we have in this country. So the guy was arrested and charged on Friday. Right now, he's sitting in a maximum security prison. So he's literally in prison already. He is in a prison right now, this murdering former police officer. When you have almost 100% agreement that George Floyd was murdered, the police officer should never see the light of day or be free again, why is there so much protest in the streets? If the officer had not been fired and arrested and was still a police officer or was still walking free, I can understand mass protest. Now, Liberal Al was talking about these other officers on my podcast last night. My wife brought up a very good point. And, because the autopsy came in, I saw the Benjamin Crump press conference. And shame on Fox News Channel for cutting out of the Benjamin Crump press conference. My wife brought up a good point to me that the other officers, there were 3 officers on George Floyd, and then the 4th officer was kind of doing crowd control, trying to keep the crowd back. And my wife was wondering how much of the suffocation happened also because of the other 2 officers that were on him. If it was just the knee to the neck, would he have survived? Was it the other officers putting pressure on the rest of his body too, which made it impossible? I don't know. I would like to have seen the whole press conference, but Fox News cut away. I wanted to hear because Benjamin Crump and his team, they were taking questions, But anyway, yeah, the other officers, I would guess, will be charged too. They probably, when you look at the first cop, it's clear as day. And I'll tell you, I was watching a woman talking about this on YouTube last night, right before bed. I can't remember her name. My wife found a new YouTube channel that one of our listeners, Sandra, had sent sent to us, and she was talking about this, and she was talking about the look on the face of this murdering police officer while he was killing George Floyd, at just complete zero emotion. Just zero emotion. And yeah, I mean, the guy's a sicko. The other cops, I'm assuming there's an investigation, and they should have also been arrested and charged with something too. I don't know why. At least the two that were on him. The fourth cop with his back turned, I don't know. I didn't see him touch Floyd, but maybe he did. I don't know. But we have universal agreement on what happened there, pretty much in this country. So why are there protests? If there's an injustice, like I said, I can't. Was it Diallo who was shot in the vestibule, or was he the one sodomized by the New York police? I can't remember, and I can't remember the other name. Oh my goodness, I'm pretty sure Diallo. Now Diallo, he had no weapon, and he was shot over 100 times by police officers, and they were acquitted. That's when you have a protest, a nonviolent one, of course. When that guy was shot in the vestibule over 100 times by 3 officers, he had no weapon. He had a wallet or something that was on the ground, and they said that he took the wallet out, and they thought it was a wallet gun. Remember all this nonsense that went on with that? We did a lot of programming back then on the day, and there was a big divide, and then they were acquitted. Okay, then you go out and you demonstrate, you protest because there's an injustice. The Rodney King cops, what they did to Rodney King was wrong, and they were acquitted in the first trial in California. Later, Bush 41, Bush the father, Bush 1, as Trump calls him, had the Justice Department go after the Rodney King cops with federal crimes, and they were convicted. But in the California courts, guy was acquitted. They were acquitted. So, of course, people were pissed off, rightly so. We saw the video, and that was, at the time, that video of Rodney King, we'd never seen something like that before. Maybe in some black and white documentary on the civil rights movement, but that was in color, it was filmed live and unedited. Yeah, Diallo was shot. What was the name of the guy who was sodomized in the police precinct by New York cops? I can't remember his name. Someone's got to remember his name, because that was terrible. But when those cops were acquitted, who wasn't pissed off and demonstrating? So what's going on in the country right now just is not, it's not logical. It's just not logical. Let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'll get back from this break. We'll get into some of the audio sound bites and, of course, your calls at 1-888-GO-CANE 1-888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
This is Brian Craig. I've been telling you about the great deals and incredible customer service at Friendly Tire on both new tires and used tires.
Oh, no doubt about that, man. About Zimmerman.
Tire and called to share with us his experience of buying used tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hey, yes, Brian. I want to give you a quick testimony about the tire place.
Oh, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about looting. I'm talking about you know, when there's an injustice, you have a demonstration. You know, peaceful demonstration.
Well, what's your name?
Antonio.
All right, Antonio. Hey, I'm glad we could save you and your family lots of money on tires at Friendly Tire.
Oh, no doubt, man. Thanks so much, man.
Do what
Steve
Antonio
Kane Show.
did. Stop into Friendly Tire and find
Hey,
incredible
Ray.
deals on both new and used tires. Give Friendly Mike a call right now. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
Louima. That's right, Louima.
Mike will give you a quote right over the phone.
Louima. Thank you.
954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate.
Folks, I'm here with my
Yeah,
attorney,
Louima.
Barry Siegel, the very
Thank you very much.
attorney who executed my revocable living
Steve Kane Show.
trust. Now, I had a revocable living
Hey,
trust
hold on.
when I went to see Barry, and I discovered that just having...
Welcome, everyone. Make sure you subscribe if you don't mind. Click the notification bell, too. Because I know most of you that are subscribed don't have the notification bell clicked. So click the notification bell. I put up videos all the time. I upload my podcast to this channel. I did I do videos all the time from home, out and about. I did a show before the show. I did a little pre-show today. I need to do a video with Steve one day after the show. We'll do a post show with Steve. I don't think he realizes how many of you guys are in the chat when we're streaming.
More children, and you need to put them in as beneficiaries as well. Also,
in my case, my
Louima,
executor
yeah.
had died, so I had no one representing me. Today I had Brian, and made him the executive.
Well, thank you, Michael. Yeah, I just thought that was the smart thing to do. I think that's what people needed to be calm. I knew people over the weekend would be fired up, and I just didn't want to do that yesterday. I don't think that's the way to go.
And also, things in your financial life may have changed, hopefully for the better. And if that's the case, you need to make sure.
Well, I know people are saying that they work together, but I don't know what that means. I mean, did they know each other? I mean, you know,
when you need it.
there's a lot of people that are in here that I don't know who they are. You know. Well, thanks, Jack. Yeah, everyone, click the notification bell and subscribe, because I know most of you don't have the. No, it wasn't.
Make an appointment, go in, make sure that
It was
your
not.
Revocable Living Trust is updated.
All right, here, we're coming back.
The number, toll free 1-855 FLA 3782. Be sure to mention to Barry that Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, let's go back to our phone. Surfer, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Yeah, Brian, how you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make a point as far as it took 4 days. I believe George was killed on Monday, and it took till Friday when a police station got burned down for the officer to get arrested. I don't know why any politician in the United States, including Trump, by the way, and Trump should put an executive order immediately, because this is a loaded cannon, and everyone's standing around with their fingers stuck in you know where, all these politicians, including Trump, and all of a sudden, as soon as the police station burns down, then all of a sudden a police officer is arrested. And now what that does is shows the whole black community, unless there's violence, which happened with the police station, nothing.
Well, the biggest mistake, I'll tell you, the biggest mistake, I don't know if you can put two and two together, but that now again, these are all Democrats in Minneapolis. I was appalled when the prosecutor came out and was talking like he was on the defense team. He said, well, you know, there's some evidence that backs up what he did. I was shocked to hear that. And if you look, the real violence began after the prosecutor started talking like the defense team for the cops. And I think that was a real instigator of all of this. Now, I get what you're saying. So you don't think he would have been arrested if they didn't burn down? I don't think so. President Trump ordered the Justice Department to expedite a federal investigation. And, you know, you just, you know.
They eventually arrested, but those 4 days and the black community video over and over and over, you know, it was a tough.
Well, he's not going to be a free person. He'll never be free again. He'll never get out of jail. I don't care what they say. He'll never get out of jail. They're saying the charges they have now are 35 years, and you know, so he'll be, what, in his 70s? I don't know how old he is, but they're going to add other charges. You know, there's a couple things I'm curious about. I find it very interesting how so little information about this officer has come out. There's two things I find curious. This story that he worked with Floyd George at some nightclub where he was doing, I guess, an off-duty detail, the officer, and Floyd was doing security. I haven't heard any comment from anyone who worked with them there with any details if there was any conflict or if they even interacted. And the other thing is his wife leaving him on Friday. She filed for divorce the same day he was arrested. And then yesterday it came out she's asking for no money in the divorce, which means she wants it over fast, right? She wants a no-fault, boom, out. You know, is there some history? That tells me that the wife wanted out of this marriage for a long time, and this is her opportunity, and she's trying to get it done.
She was as good as dead, or the house.
Nah, she could go somewhere else. What I'm wondering is there a history with the husband and the wife? I mean, she got out of it, so she could have moved and gone somewhere. She filed for divorce minutes after he was arrested. I mean, he was still probably being booked when she filed. So this tells me she's wanted to leave him for a while and asking for no money, which means the house and everything she's given to him. She wants out of there. I'm just wondering what kind of marriage these two have had, and there's been no information come out about that. I haven't seen any reporters in Minneapolis talking to friends, family, or anyone that knows either of these. There's all kind of, I'll decide what the topics are that are important. You get your own show somewhere, you get on the radio, you can decide what's important to talk about. Oh my goodness, telling me what the important topic is right now. I'll decide what the important topic is. Thank you very much. All right, let's go to Ray, you're on the radio. The important topic.
As usual, and I'm sorry, I have to challenge you, who could love and appreciate Donald Trump more? But I tell you, you talk about photo ops, that leadership reclaiming the area yesterday, and of course with the Bible in his hand when he went back to St. John's Episcopal Church. I mean, that is the photo op of photo ops.
Why don't you
by the way, talking about photo ops,
delete the app, reboot your phone, and reinstall the app.
Iconic image,
Absolutely, and by the way, the Iwo Jima, yeah, right. And what a photo op that cost what under enemy fire there,
How about MacArthur's return to the Philippines? Remember coming?
How many times did MacArthur come out of the water for that?
Right. Photo op.
Everything is a photo op. And it really cracks me up to see people that are journalists on television, which is a visual. I was talking about in the first segment. Jim Acosta was appalled as it was happening that there was a photo op going on. In large part, he wasn't in the pool that day, so he couldn't go. And my question is, what I said in the first segment, why does Jim Acosta and all the White House reporters report from the White House lawn with the White House behind them? It's a photo op. It's an image that they want. Look at Morning Joe and Mika do their show from like Florida, but they have a backdrop of photographs of Washington behind them, like they're in D.C. It's a visual medium, and photo ops and video photo ops are part of what we have today.
They all went back to putting them. I don't know if they went back, but they're putting the masks on and stuff like that. What are they doing?
Yeah, I'm watching the. I'm very surprised that they haven't pulled Fauci out on CNN to ask him about a concern and a spike in coronavirus because social distancing guidelines are not being maintained in these major metropolitan demonstrations nationwide.
Images, though. I am your president of law and order and peaceful protesters. I like that one. That disgusting liberal Al here, he wants to send you a picture, what do you say, of a girl being run over? What was the girl doing there? Why was she there? Was she one of the peaceful protesters? I'd like to know that. How about sending a picture of the police officer in the Bronx that was run over by...
And these officers and by the way, with liberal Al, I've stopped giving him a hard time on it. He has all these pictures, but he never sends any with him in them, except the one that he photoshopped poorly that I exposed. But send a picture of yourself at a protest. If you're really there.
Yeah, officers being beat up in the Bronx. 50 Secret Service men were harmed.
Well, I mean, you go way back, okay? Because you're in your 80s, right? Right. Have you ever seen 86 years old? Oh my goodness. Oh well, happy birthday in advance. But the thing about these incidents, because you have more life experience than I do by far. I've never seen unity after one of these high-profile incidents that the cop was wrong, it was murder, and he should go to prison. I've never seen such national agreement on any of these issues before as with this one. So it doesn't make sense to have so much protest going on when there's an injustice in that George Floyd was murdered by the cop, but the justice system has worked pretty fast. He's in a prison already.
Here last night, the Philadelphia, they're letting these criminals out of jail while the rioting is still going.
Yeah.
Here's the president does this big thing, announces a curfew for 7 o'clock, What does Cuomo do? Oh, we'll have one at 11 o'clock. Well, why the hell would you have it 2 o'clock in the morning? I mean, and then...
The curfew should start at about 3 in the afternoon, really. You know, and I'll tell you, you know, you talk about these people are getting bailed out of jail in minutes. I mean, haven't they seen, remember in Private Ryan when they let the POW go and he came back and killed one of them later on in the movie? You got to keep these people locked up until the incident is over, because it sends a message, I was locked up for 2 hours. Big deal, I made some new friends. There's no consequence.
This is revealing the liberal mindset, you see. Here's Cuomo, Biden, and I can't take that Warren Williams, I tell you. I know he's there as a token, but they're talking...
Liberal, token liberal. Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever seen a president walk out from the Oval Office, walk out the front gate of the White House? Like, I've never seen it happen. Never have seen that happen. And so far as, you know, they didn't clear the crowd out of protesters simply for a photo op. It was a large part of it. But there, you know, the White House was attacked twice, Friday and then Sunday night, and they didn't want the bad agitators moving into that crowd when darkness came. So they were going to clear that out anyway. They can't have protest in front of the White House right now. It's not appropriate.
Reclaiming the area, just like MacArthur and
yeah,
Johnny and so on. See?
Well, I've seen a lot of video online that is of mostly it's women, black women, challenging the whites that are coming into their neighborhood with bricks and spray paint and all this stuff. Have you seen any of this video? I've seen a couple of black women. There's one video, this car filled with white girls pulls up into one of the neighborhoods and starts giving bricks to the black guys in the neighborhood, and a young black woman confronts them and says, "Why are you giving bricks to our men? Get out of here!" You know, and it's crazy.
You know, Brian, you mentioned something else I'd like to see investigated. That Latin nightclub where Floyd and Chauvin worked together. You know, I'd like to see what's the background there. And nobody's mentioning that Chauvin also had over a dozen charges against him for, like, we'll call.
Yeah.
That he was involved.
Well, and I'll tell you, I heard yesterday that this is the first time in the history of the state that a white officer has been charged with a crime involving the killing of a African American, and that's how, you know, that's hard to imagine. But there's some type of culture up there in Minneapolis, and when they go through this office, and I'm very surprised. Not one journalist has gone through his service record yet with the police, and we've heard nothing but terrible things about it. And you're going to find there was a lot of passing the buck in Minneapolis that allowed a guy on the street that had no business having a badge or a gun, certainly not both.
For 5 now, 6.
Yeah.
They're still allowing these people to congregate. I know they're arresting some people, but like I said, here in Philadelphia, let them right out of jail while the rioting is still going on. But they've got to separate. They have to have area perimeter. You know, what was the demilitarized zone? People like
yeah.
I mean, first of all, 2 nights ago, when I said, why are these people right at the gates of the White House? What?
Well, I remember in the 2000 recount, there were a lot of protests here in South Florida that were staged protests by both sides during the recount. And I went to a bunch of them because they were doing the ballot counting in Plantation at the time. The first recount was done in Plantation before they moved it to the downtown courthouse, and I lived in Plantation at the time, so I went there every day. I got to meet Bob Dole and all kinds of top people. And I saw the buses come in. One bus had the Teamsters on it, another bus had the Republicans on it. But the police came and they separated the protesters. One side of the road were Republicans, the other side were the Democrats, and you couldn't cross the line. If you did, you'd get arrested because things get so heated. So police getting involved with crowd control at protest, it's necessary. I've been to protest, it gets scary. I had a guy try to kill me at a protest by pushing me. I had a Democrat push me in front of traffic, moving traffic during rush hour at a impeach Bill Clinton event. You know, a guy, well, yeah, an old timer. He's long gone now because he was about your age at the time, and he came he came up to me and pushed me with his forearm right into the street in front of cars, and he laughed while he did it. I was lucky that I didn't get hit by a car, you know, and no, and you went out to the jungles of Mexico, to the Mayan ruins with us on the I was shocked that you came with us out in the jungle and to the Mayan pyramids. Yeah, but you did it. All right, Ray. I've exceeded your time limit. I think I've eaten up about 6 or 7 days worth of your time. Steve limits the time that Ray is allowed on the air. All right, listen, we'll take our last break of the first hour. Your calls are welcome at 1-888-GO-CANE 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be back.
We are chatting today with Frank, the owner of 2 magnificent Ace Hardware stores. One, Deerfield Beach, 365 South Federal Highway, about a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough.
Good morning,
west
everyone.
Side of Federal Highway. And the other, Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, half a block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. How many years have you owned this business?
I've been in the hardware business for over 40 years, Steve.
If I have a home project that I'm doing, there are so many around the house, that's the big thing today. What's the difference of my experience if I go to Ace Hardware as opposed to these major impersonal chain stores?
Oh, there's a huge difference. The basic difference is customer service. We're an old-time fashioned hardware store. We have experienced people that are working in our stores. Our employees are just top-notch. They're very experienced. They know their business. When you're doing a project, you can come into the store and you can get somebody that knows what they're doing, somebody that will like to work with you. They'll find you the right project, the right pieces, the first time, so you can get in and out with the right material.
There are lots of Ace Hardware stores, but there are only 2 that are advertising with the Steve Kane Show. We're talking about the Deerfield location, a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of Federal, and of course the Beach Ace Hardware located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, a half block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. Very, very special locations. Be sure to mention Steve Kane sent you.
Attention seniors under the age of 65. In this unsettling time due to COVID-19, if you have recently lost your job or been forced into retirement and want to learn about all of your Medicare health insurance options, call Debbie and her team at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080 for a free review of your existing health insurance plan and to receive a free no-obligation education on all of your Medicare options. I Will Advisors are carrier neutral, which means they don't just represent one insurance carrier, they represent all major national carriers and will guide you through the confusing process to find the right plan for your particular needs. Free of charge. Call Debbie and her team right now. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. You know, out of all of this, everyone that we've been introduced to during this American tragedy of a man being murdered by a police officer in the last week or so, this new man on the scene that I was very impressed with, Terrence Floyd, who's the brother of George Floyd, and he came out yesterday with a bullhorn calling for an end of violence. Let me play some of this. I was very impressed with this guy. And Terrence Floyd needs to get together and have a very high-profile meeting with the president and help tone these things down. In fact, some of the, I think the governors and the mayors, where a lot of this is really, rough, New York, Minneapolis, wherever there's Atlanta, they need to have Terrence Floyd come to their community and talk to them like he did yesterday. This is Terrence Floyd, brother of murdered George Floyd.
So if I'm not over here wilding out, if I'm not over here blowing up stuff, if I'm not over here blowing up my community, then what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Y'all doing nothing. Because that's not going to bring my brother back at all. It may feel good for the moment, just like when you drink. But when it comes down, you're gonna wonder what you did.
We can see you, Joe.
My family is a peaceful family. My family is God-fearing. Yeah, we upset. But we're not going to take it. We're not going to be repetitious. In every case of police brutality, the same thing has been happening. Y'all protest, y'all destroy stuff.
There's a glitch this morning.
They don't move. You know why they don't move? Because it's not their stuff, it's our stuff. So they want us to destroy our stuff. Come on, dog.
Hey, Steve.
They're not going to move. So let's do this another way. Let's do this another way. Y'all right. Let's do this another way. Let's stop thinking that our voice don't matter and vote. Not just vote for the president, vote for the preliminaries, vote for everybody.
Yeah, okay, that's Terrence Floyd, the brother of murdered George Floyd. What a voice of, well, a refreshing voice of rationality right here. I mean, I was so impressed with him, you know, and he made a very good point. He made a lot of good points. You know, if my family aren't out there doing it, it's a very big difference because when the Michael Brown incident happened in Ferguson, remember Michael Brown's stepfather was out there calling for violence. And Terrence Floyd, he's calling for peace and voting. And I like that he said, don't just vote for president, vote for everything, the lower levels. Because they're in a Democrat town, and the Democrats run the police department, the city, and their state. And it's up to the local politicians to take care of something, but they're not. It's been a Democrat town, I don't know. I've heard people say 50 years. I don't know how long exactly. But Terrence Floyd, he needs to travel this country. Terrence Floyd should be in New York City today, giving a speech on the street just like that. He should be in Washington, D.C. doing it. They could fly him around and get him in multiple cities a day. He could borrow Trump's private plane, Trump Force One, which is about as fast as an aircraft that a civilian can own. That's why Trump was able to do multiple rallies a day during the campaign. Because Terrence Floyd, and he should be on every news outlet with his message of peace, vote, not just president, everything on the ballot, make sure. Terrence Floyd should be the lead with every newscast in this country today. A call for peace, civility, nonviolent protest, vote, solve it that way. And, you know, he said one thing, I don't have it in, I don't think it was in that clip, I didn't hear it in that clip, but he went on for quite some time and he says, you know, some of you may think this feels good right now, what you're doing. It's like drinking. It feels good while you're doing it, but later, you know, you have regret. You know, I think Terrence Floyd is a wise man, and I'll tell you, I don't know, we haven't learned too much about his brother's background. But, man, if his brother is that wise, I can only imagine. You know, George Floyd, that's a pretty impressive guy. I mean, that's a natural to tone things down in this country is to have Terrence Floyd everywhere with that message. Now, well, you know, listen, it's been going on for a week now. I would think after what the president said yesterday, things are going to start to tone down because action's going to be taken. But a lot of these there was in Boca, I didn't see it in the local news, but they closed down the mall early in the afternoon yesterday. I saw online because there was going to be some type of protest or demonstration. I didn't see what became of it. If anybody has any info on the Boca demonstration. I know there were some demonstrations throughout South Florida, and I didn't go to it. I started to go to it. I was going to go to the demonstration yesterday, and I was going to go and I was going to live stream it or record it and put it online for you all to see. And then I thought to myself, what's the point of that? That's just sensationalizing a terrible incident, and it's not a smart thing to do. You know, it's just not a smart thing to do. It's adding to the problem. You know, a lot of what's going on here is, you know, people are talking in the press about a photo op yesterday. Well, the way the media are handling these demonstrations, there's a lot of photo opping going in there. You know, last week when they burned down the police precinct in Minneapolis, you know, reporters were reporting live in front of the flames. That's a photo op. How many times have you seen these reporters on television in front of something that's happening with these are all photo ops. But Trump, well, you know, no photo ops for him. In the next hour, I'm going to get into some of the audio sound bites of the outrage over the president walking across the street to that church yesterday. Any lab test now of Boca Raton and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Listen, there are lots of any lab test nows, but only 2 advertising on the Steve Kane Show. That's any lab test now of Boca, which is in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard, on the east side of 441 State Road 7, and any lab test now of Coral Springs, which is on the southeast corner of University Drive in Ramblewood, near the Coral Square Mall. Those are the 2 locations advertising here on the Steve Kane Show, and they are offering COVID-19 testing, coronavirus testing, and in particular, they're offering, of course, the coronavirus testing itself, and they have the one that's painless, not that thing that goes up to your eyeball, but they're also doing, which this is a very, very important, the antibody test. Okay, the antibody test. Now, this test, I've had it done, and I do not have the antibodies, but the antibody testing is for people who think they may have had COVID-19, but you were asymptomatic. A lot of people think they had it. You hear people talk about this all the time. And, you know, if you've had it, hopefully, you know, if you haven't, but if you have, you very well may have those antibodies. Very important information. So any lab test now of Boca, any lab test now of Coral Springs, they are offering coronavirus testing and that COVID-19 antibody test. The antibody test is the one that you hear people wanting all the time. Now, for the coronavirus and the antibody test, it's by appointment. Everything else at any lab test now of Boca, any lab test now of Coral Springs, no appointment necessary. But for coronavirus and the antibody coronavirus testing, they do ask that you make an appointment. Now, I'm going to give you the number for the Boca location, but this number is good for the Coral Springs location so far as the appointments go. For any other test, no appointment, just walk right in. Oh, and by the way, for the antibody test and coronavirus test, just like everything else, no doctor's order needed, no prescription necessary, and in and out in 15 minutes or less. This is the number, 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Radio Show. We'll be back with hour number 2 after this.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Dr. Matez, we talk about charisma. Hormone replacement pellet therapy brings back a lot of
Welcome,
things.
guys.
People.
Subscribe.
Things I think it brings back
And
is charisma.
click the notification bell, okay? Most of you that are subscribed don't click the notifications. Click that notification bell. I do videos, I'm uploading all the time. I do live streams all the time, not just here in the mornings. So click the notification bell. Steve Kane Show.
It changes your life. It changes the way you view the world. You know how I put it once? This was years and years ago. Looking at the world after having the hormone therapy, and you look at the world, and the world is like a technicolor. And when you give up the hormone therapy, it's like watching the world in black and white. It's just an amazing difference. Like
That's a fantastic analogy.
Isn't it?
It is.
It's true. It's a big difference.
It is. As we get older, you know, we both physically and mentally break down. And we tend to get into a very black and white type of existence, a lot of people. Everybody's different, but when you get your hormone levels back and you get that vigor back, you feel good. Suddenly things are very bright and colorful.
And I experience this myself, and I see it on listeners, is I'll see a guy, and he's like, and then I'll see him after he has become a patient of yours, and with hormone replacement pellet therapy, he seems like he's standing up strong, confident, 10 feet tall. What is it about hormone replacement pellet therapy that does that to guys?
I believe it's because you're putting God's nectar back into the body, basically. God
What's
gave us
odd,
testosterone
Darwin? What's odd?
in particular to give us energy and strength and endurance and muscle mass. It's what makes not just men, it's what makes people. And a lack of it
Oh, thank you,
takes all of
Lily.
those things away from you.
We'll meet with Steve Kane listeners at no charge.
Always.
What is the number they can call to make that appointment?
561-953-5490. 561-953-5490.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. When is the last time you reviewed your revocable living trust? If it's been more than 3 years, it needs to be reviewed. Call attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. He will review your trust at no charge. With 9
Just a glitch.
in South Florida, including Boca.
And there's some people having chat problems. Sometimes that happens.
1-855-FLA-3782. 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-GAIN-1. That's 1-888.
Yes. All right, hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. This is the longest running radio show in the state of Florida, The Steve Kane Show. We are live in Morning Drive, Monday through Friday, Eastern Time here. We're also on the air overnight, 7 nights a week, midnight until 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, you can listen to the program from midnight till 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, midnight till 9 a.m. you can catch the show. We broadcast live on the radio on AM 1470, 95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, and 103.9 FM. You can also listen to us online on the iHeart Radio app and the TuneIn app, searching for us by our station's call letters. Our radio station call letters are WWNN, 2 W's, 2 N's. We're talking about this great moment of President Trump. Mic drop press conference. He's the law and order president. He walks from the Oval Office out the front gate of the White House to the church across the road. The media have a meltdown. I've never seen the president walk out of a gate of the White House and go across the street anywhere, any president. It was just a historic moment for the country and for the presidency. Let's go to Richie, the bus driver. Richie, you're on the radio.
Morning, I'm listening to you and I'm watching this thing on a regular basis.
Yeah. Mm. Most of it, Richie, I'm watching these protests, and in particular, I was watching the protest in Washington when they cleaned it out yesterday in front of the White House, and it's vast majority white people at the protest, and so it's and I see video after video of mostly black women, some black men, but mostly black women running white people out of their neighborhood. I saw one woman run these 2 white girls off, who the white girls were spray painting Black Lives Matter on a building in the black neighborhood, and they were confronted and run off. So the black community, and where these things are happening across the country, they're under attack and under siege quite a bit by these white rioters that have come in. But Terrence Floyd, you weren't impressed by Terrence Floyd's speech yesterday? Yeah, the only time I've seen Terrence Floyd on television is when they put him on because he said a couple negative things about President Trump. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at the way. Were you watching live when the president walked across the street?
Proud.
It was a proud moment, and the media meltdown. I was watching it on CNN live. I switched over to CNN, and immediately Jim Acosta was photo op.
He's an idiot. Photo op, of course. It's a symbol, okay? It is a symbol. It's a symbol that this is my street. This is our street. This is not the thug street. This is not the street of the rioters. This church is our church. This is not their church. It was a photo op. But don't you think that Biden telling people in the
You know, I remember when Bill Clinton first became, Bill Clinton was the first president, maybe ever, that had not had any military service whatsoever. I think he may have been, but he was from the anti-war Vietnam generation. He had protested against the war. He had not served, and it was something that was really, people were criticizing him for even after he was elected. And then one night, what did Bill Clinton do? They said he jogged, but you know how that story went. He went over at night, he went to the Vietnam Memorial and put his fingers on the name of someone he went to high school with and leaned up against the wall, and that was the front page photograph the next day in all the newspapers. That photo, everything is a photo. In the age of Instagram, everything is a photo op. I mean, even, I'll tell you, if you watch me on YouTube and you see my YouTube thumbnails, I choose those, and it's usually me talking into the mic or doing something. I mean, everything's a photo op today. Everything.
Mark Levin said don't turn these channels on because they're going to start trashing him for this. He said this.
Does that include his own channel, Mark Levin, or does he just want his channel on?
Well, no, but here's the deal. I watched from New York City. Okay, this mayor of New York, this Democratic mayor, and this governor, they don't want to give. You got to understand something. President Trump has offered as much military backup as they need. They refuse. They have a curfew last night at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, tonight is going to be.
What good is that? I mean, the curfews in these areas should be about 2, 3 in the afternoon. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
They were going store to store, outnumbering the police.
Yeah.
And the police were on bicycles, and when they would stop at one place, they would go to the next place.
Listen, if you can lock everybody down during the coronavirus, why not this? Yeah. He said, I was not surprised at what de Blasio said yesterday. His daughter was arrested at a protest where they were burning police cars, and he talked yesterday, de Blasio, about how proud he was of his daughter. She got arrested at an event. You would think she got arrested by the police officers that are trying to bring order to her father's city, and he's proud of her. He should be pissed off at her for embarrassing him at the very least. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, of course. There's there's bad people in every profession. But don't you find it odd that here we are, I don't know, we're close to 2, I don't remember exactly which day the incident happened, but we're about 10 days into this, right? We're about 10 days, 8 days in. Okay, we're 8 days in. And I've heard innuendo, but I've seen no specifics about this officer's record. I've seen no specifics about these other investigations of his past. I've seen, I've heard, but I've not seen the press come out with his record like they typically do. I was talking to a caller in the last hour about the wife filing for divorce Friday, the day he was arrested, and over the weekend, she said she wanted no money. She wants it over. So what's the? Why have they not gone to talk to neighbors and friends? This wife wanted to leave him for a long time, and she was afraid he was going to make bail, and she wanted to get it. She wants to get free of him before that happens. So what about their marriage had her bug out so quick? Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
Every part of life. But if they show this, that shows that this guy's off the wall, and it's not just a.
Well, he's going to have a history. The story with the wife will tell us a lot. I'm telling you, she got out of there. She's getting out of this too fast. She's wanted to leave him for a long time, for some reason. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't. No. Oh, Anderson Cooper? Yeah. 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 You know, well, the thing is, okay, the reason we're not hearing about the wife and him and getting the specific details, including the paper trail of his record, okay, is because it's a Democrat town. They don't want the people in, they don't want Minneapolis to get blamed for this. They want to lay, for some reason, President Trump, I did not know this about the presidential scope of authority. Apparently, based on what I'm seeing in the mainstream media, the President of the United States, the Army, the Air Force, Navy, and Marines are under his jurisdiction, but apparently the Minneapolis Police Department is as well, because he's responsible for the internal human resource issues in the Minneapolis Police Department. You would think, wouldn't you? I mean, what the hell does he have to do with it? This guy should have been fired long ago, and maybe even charged with things long ago, from what I'm hearing. And there's a story with the wife, and when this murdering cop is on George Floyd's neck, he is without emotion, and that says a lot about him. I mean, this guy's got a history.
This mayor and this governor have let prisoners with this virus, people in jail out, and this is what they're running loose like a wildfire.
Oh, and this is interesting. You think a lot of these people in New York are people that were recently incarcerated but let out due to COVID? Yeah. No, yeah, maybe. I haven't heard anybody speculate on that. You're the first person I've heard suggest that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you another thing too. I was very happy to hear in the mainstream media. Mainstream media are reporting about the pallets of bricks being dropped in these areas around the country, and yeah. You mean to tell me that there are no street cameras that they can look at to find out who's been leaving these pallets? No, but they can ID the vehicles and plates. Yeah, there's no way there is no way that these pallets of bricks being delivered are being delivered by vehicle. I mean, to haul out a pallet of bricks, you have to have a truck, either a van or a pickup. They're very heavy, and some of them are stacked so well. I think they might have been they're taken out on pallets. They might have had I forgot, what do you call the thing that you move pallets around with? A forklift. It looks like some of these had to have been taken by forklift. There's no way there's not traffic footage, camera footage, that can ID the license plates on the vehicles that have been leaving the bricks around.
Pull up the windows to break into these places.
I mean, that's if I were advising the president, my first thing would be, because he said, yes, I'm the law and order president, we're going to get the leaders. I would go around to where I would have people identify some of the vehicles that dropped the bricks off with the traffic cameras and street cameras. Believe me, there's plenty of them, and go after those people. That would lead you to the leaders.
But in New York City, it will not stop because why hasn't de Blasio and the governor, not de Blasio, but the governor.
Well, a lot of it too, Richie, a lot of it has to do with over 30 million out of work. You know, I got to get up and go to work in the morning. I can't go to a protest. And if you don't have to go to work in the morning, you can go to a protest.
New York asked for the soldiers. Trump has said, "I'll send you as many as you need." He hasn't asked for one.
Well, he's going to have to override them and do it. No, he can. No, he can. He's got this old law from 1807, which, by the way, I read this morning, that 1807 law they're talking about, it was used during the LA riots. So it is. They want to act as if it hasn't been used since the Whiskey Rebellion or something, but that's not the case. It was used during the LA riots. I read this morning. Yeah. Hey, I got a question. Are National Guard, do they have veteran status like you do? Are they considered veterans after they do their guard service or not? Like if you're a National Guard guy, can you go to the VA? 20 years? Oh, really? So you have to actually do 20 years of National Guard service?
Yeah, to retire. And then we call them weekend warriors, where they would go, they would train.
Yeah, they kind of like firefighters that work a couple 8 days a month. The 2 weeks a year? I know, the 2 weeks a year. Yeah. 20 years, that's a long time. That's a long time. They get a military pension, a full military pension? What a racket that is. What a racket. All right, take care. Richie the bus driver. All right, listen, we'll take our break and be right back.
You've heard Steve Kane, Richie the bus driver, and many other Steve Kane listeners tell you about the great work Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental Care offers. Steve Kane listener, hey, called in, he had an accident, he went to Dr. Gupta, and he told us his story.
Good morning, Brian. My name's Hank. I'm calling from Hollywood. Brian, I'm calling you for a different thing. About a month or so ago, I called first thing in the morning because I fainted coming out of my bathroom. And I busted my 3 front teeth. I busted my chin, but I guess I fainted, I fell, I cracked my chin, it hit my upper teeth, and I cracked my 3 front teeth. I want to thank you, and I really want to thank Dr. Gupta. I mean, besides the fact that my teeth look great, besides the fact that, you know, his assistant is really good, really nice, they're all really nice over there, the price was unbelievable. When I came home, I told my wife, she's like, I thought that thing was going to cost you 3 times as much. I said, so did I. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank Dr. Gupta. He's awesome. Appreciate your show. I listen to your show a lot. I only called in, this is the second time. Both times, one was to make sure I'm going to the right office where Dr. Gupta was, and then this one to let you know that he's great. I know you know he's great. I just want your listeners to know he's great. His assistant is great. The prices are great. Everything is great over there.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm glad you had a great experience with Dr. Gupta.
I did. Thank you again, Brian.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, and thank Eve, and you guys keep up the good work over there. I appreciate it. Dr. Gupta, you keep up the good work, too.
All right, there we go.
So everybody keep up.
All right, I think you guys just heard what will be the new commercial for Dr. Gupta.
Do what Hank did. Call Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. For Steve Kane listeners, free consultations. And always the best price. Give Dr. Gupta a call right now. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
If you suffer from excruciating back pain or sciatica, pay careful attention to what I'm about to tell you. According to a study in the medical journal Spine, back surgeries to alleviate back pain frequently backfire, leaving the patient in more pain than before they had the surgery. A second study from the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine provides clear evidence that 74% of surgeries for back pain fail. But there is an end to your suffering. There's a solution to your problem waiting for you with Dr. Troy Lamaski. Dr. Troy Lamaski is my personal chiropractor, and if the name sounds familiar, it should. He's the brother of Dr. Janae Lamaski. Dr. Troy specializes in the elimination of back pain, sciatica, joint pain. He does it quickly, easily, and without surgery or pain medication. While he can help you with your back and neck pain, Dr. Troy also provides treatment for the hips, the shoulders, the knees. If you've been in a car accident, any type of injury, or slip and fall, the pain won't go away, well, you want to get back to your old self, you want to call Dr. Troy. His number 954-463-3036. That's 954-463-3036. Online at drtroylemaskey.com. Tell him that Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Okay, so the media had a meltdown, and also, well, let me play this one clip first, because this one's bizarre. The lady bishop, who's the Episcopal bishop for the District of Columbia, was outraged that President Trump went to the church with the Bible yesterday. Let me play. This is the lady bishop. Her name, I wrote it down, Marianne Edgar. She's the Episcopal bishop of the District of Columbia. She's talking about the president going to the church yesterday.
Everyone, hold on. We've got
That's Anderson Cooper.
Here from Marianne Buddy, Bishop of the District of Columbia, who oversees the church that the president just used as a photo op. Bishop Buddy, thank you for being here. What are your thoughts as you saw what happened, and as you look at these images now of so many Americans crying out in the streets for law and order that is applied equally to all of us, regardless of color, regardless of economic status?
I want to thank you for letting me be on this, be part of this conversation. Let me be clear. The president just used a Bible, the most sacred text of the Judeo-Christian tradition, and one of the churches of my diocese, without permission.
Oh, well, without permission? Yeah, her middle name's Edgar. This is Bishop Marianne Edgar Buddy, the Episcopal bishop of the District of Columbia. She said without permission. So I thought churches were open to all. I did not know you had to have permission to. The only time I've heard of people needing permission to have a Bible is back in the antebellum South. African Americans had to have permission to be exposed to the scriptures through the Bible. But other than that, so this liberal bishop, to go to churches and to have a Bible, you need, well, whose permission do you need, Bishop, buddy? Her permission? Churches and the Bible are for all. I've never heard of such a thing. Well, let me go back. She's very upset. Now, I haven't heard her take issue with the people that tried to burn down the church. And I love how Anderson Cooper, no matter economic status, here you got a guy who's Gloria Vanderbilt's son, right? I mean, this guy, he's never worried about a 10 cents in his life, right? Born into wealth. All of a sudden he's worried about, concerned about wealth equality. But anyway, maybe she'll condemn the people that try to burn down the church. Back to this, Anderson Cooper with the Episcopal Bishop of D.C.
So many Americans crying out in the streets for law and order that is applied equally to all of us, regardless of color.
And trust fund.
I want to thank you for letting me be on this, be part of this conversation. Let me be clear. The president just used a Bible, the most sacred text of the Judeo-Christian tradition, and one of the churches of my diocese, without permission, as a backdrop for a message.
Wait, did she say without permission or her permission? Let me see here. I'm going to find out.
The most sacred text of the Judeo-Christian tradition, and one of the churches of my diocese, without permission.
Okay, that means her permission. One of my churches, churches of my diocese, without permission. Are churches not open to the public, the Episcopal churches of D.C.?
As a backdrop for a message antithetical to the teachings of Jesus and everything that our churches stand for. And to do so, as you just said, he sanctioned the use of tear gas by police officers in riot gear to clear the churchyard. I am outraged.
Okay, where is the outrage towards the people that tried to burn the church down? By the way, I'm looking on you. When I stream live on YouTube, I see myself on the screen. I can see behind me. We're on the 5th floor here. What a beautiful view behind me. The clouds just look spectacular. Anyway, so she has not had an unkind word about the people that tried to burn the church down. Maybe she will. Hold on. Let's go back to Bishop Buddy, who thinks people need permission to use Bibles and go to churches.
As you just said, he sanctioned the use of tear gas by police officers in riot gear to clear the churchyard. I am outraged. The president did not pray when he came to St. John's.
Well, first off, you don't know that. She does not know that he didn't pray. You know, the president spoke a little bit while he was there, but there was some that he was just in silence. He could have been praying to himself while he was there. I don't know if he did or not. But to say that he didn't pray is a leap. And you know, he is a religious man. There's a book, I can't recall the name of the book. When he was running in 2016, he was talking about a great book from the 50s, 60s that was about business. I can't remember the name of it. And I went out and got the book. And I actually went out to the public library and got it because I want to get it right away. And I was shocked. It was a Christian book about being in business and being a Christian. It was a fascinating book. But how does she know that he wasn't praying or didn't pray? He could have prayed before. He could have prayed silently to himself while he was there. Yes, Napoleon Hill. Thank you. The Napoleon Hill book Trump was recommending every day on the campaign trail is a Christian book.
By police officers in riot gear to clear the churchyard. I am outraged.
Still waiting for the outrage about those who tried to burn down the church.
The president did not pray when he came to St. John's, nor, as you just articulated, did he acknowledge the agony of our country right now, and in particular that of the people of color in our nation, who wonder if anyone in public power will ever acknowledge their sacred worth, and who are rightfully demanding an end to 400 years of systemic racism and white supremacy in our country. And I just want the world to know that we in the Diocese of Washington, following Jesus and his way of love, do not.
You know, I don't judge other Christians too much. I'm a Christian. I'm Catholic. I'm Christian. I've been Christian my whole life. You know, it sounds like she's doing a lot of judging to me, doesn't it? It sounds like she's being very judgy, very judgmental.
In our country, and I just want the world to know that we in the Diocese of Washington, following Jesus and his way of love, do not. We distance ourselves from the incendiary language of this president. We follow someone who lived a life of nonviolence and sacrificial love. We align ourselves with those seeking justice for the death of George Floyd and countless others through the sacred act of peaceful protest. And I just can't believe what my eyes have seen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first off, the bishop, again, with the talking point of 400 years of racism in this country. The United States is not 400 years old. The United States is 244 years old, okay? And less than 100 years into that, we eradicated slavery through a very bloody civil war with 500,000 Americans killed. So the country, she's blaming us for things that the United States wasn't even around for then, okay? The land, that is the Americas, was here, but not the United States of, okay, was not here. So got to get your years straight there. Now, she's talking about she's supporting justice for those against her. So is the president. The president supports peaceful protest and has supported a hate crimes investigation by the federal government that he's ordered to be expedited into the murder of George Floyd by the police officer. And the protesters there were not peaceful. They tried to burn the church down. And I'll tell you another thing. I was watching, before the protesters were cleared out, I was watching some live video from the protest before they cleared it out, and I saw blood on the sidewalk, and that had to be pretty fresh. So if it's non-violent, and that was not where the police had come in yet, where'd the blood come from? You know, so yeah, come on, yeah. Political liberal churches are churches that I would stay away from myself. Okay, I don't really like politics when I'm in church. I don't, I should keep that a lot of Democrats in church, especially when I go to Catholic Mass and it's election time, you see Democrat stickers on the backs of cars. I see it all the time. But I keep politics out of the church when I'm in. I don't talk politics at church with people, although I haven't been to church in a while. Especially, I don't think most people haven't with everything that's going on. But not an unkind word towards those who tried to burn down her church. And by the way, Bishop Buddy, whose permission does one need to enter an Episcopal church? Whose permission do you go to get permission to have a Bible? I'd like to know whose permission she thinks is needed. All right, let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. 32 minutes after. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
I'm here
I see you,
with
Laura.
my
There's a
attorney,
glitch, a
Barry
little glitchy this
Siegel,
morning.
the very fine attorney who executed my revocable living trust. Now, I had a revocable living trust when I went to see Barry, and I discovered that just having it's not enough. You have to keep it updated. Give me the reasons for that, Barry.
Well, Steve, things change as time goes by, and that's why it's important, just like you go to the doctor and get checkups every so often, it's important to get your revocable living trust and other estate planning documents checked up upon on a regular basis. I would suggest every 3 years. And some of the reasons why you would need to update your estate plan is, first of all, some of the provisions that you may have made, your beneficiaries, your trustees, you may need to change them for one reason or another. Maybe your trustee's no longer with us, maybe they're not the best choice anymore, maybe you had more children and you need to put them in as beneficiaries as well. Also,
in my case, my executor had died, so I had no one representing me. Today I have Brian. We made him the executor.
And that's exactly the point. You need to review and dust off that old estate plan and take a look and see what you have to make sure it's up to date. You also want to make sure that it's up to date because laws change from time to time, and also things in your financial life may have changed, hopefully for the better. And if that's the case, we need to make sure that your planning is up to date, so that the bottom line is we want your estate plan to work for you when you need it. So that's why it's so important to make sure that your estate plan, and specifically your revocable living trust, is up to date.
The bottom line is call Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group, make an appointment, go in, make sure that your revocable living trust is updated. The number, toll-free, 1-855-FLA-3782. Be sure to mention to Barry that Steve Kane sent you.
This is Adrienne Kane, Steve's daughter, and I want to tell you about my MyPillow mattress. I was talking to Dad, and I was telling him I wasn't sleeping at night. I was tossing and turning
we can
all
see
night
it, Kathy.
long. I had
There's
an
a glitch.
old, worn out, lumpy,
With the
bumpy
chat,
mattress
people having some chat
that was
issues.
so uncomfortable. I wasn't getting any sleep. A couple of
I
days
see
later,
everybody.
there was a knock at the door, and it was a MyPillow mattress. I slept on it that night, and ever since I've been sleeping the whole night through. No more tossing, no more turning, and when my alarm goes off in the morning, I'm up and ready to go and well rested. Give your kids, grandkids, spouse, or yourself the gift of a good night's sleep with a MyPillow mattress. Go to
I like when I chat, I get that
mypillow.com
nice
and use the
gold
promo
crown.
code Kane,
I should chat more often.
K-A-N-E. When you use the promo code Kane, you can save up to $300 off your MyPillow mattress. They come in all sizes, from twin to California King, and every size in between. Go to mypillow.com and be sure to use the promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, and give the gift of a MyPillow mattress.
I see it, Katina.
Worth its weight in restful sleep.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for...
All right, welcome back. All right, so this photo op or great moment in presidential history. Let me just recap. Yeah, it was a photo op, but you know what? Everything is these days. Everything is a photo op. All of a sudden, there's so much talk about how much the mainstream media hate the president. There's something about this president that's triggered them. Does anyone remember when CNN was respectable, I should say, not respectful, but respectable? Maybe a lot of you never think it was, but when I think back, there was a time when CNN was respectable. Back in the days of Bernard Shaw. Remember Bernard Shaw? He was in Baghdad when Desert Storm began. Remember that, when the attack on Baghdad began? And he was one of the early anchors of CNN, and he was very well respected by everyone, and we loved him. And since the Acosta era of CNN, a lot of people, where's the Bernard Shaws? I've heard people say, where are these Bernard Shaws? Where did they go? Bernard Shaw came out of retirement from yesterday to bash the president. I want to play the clip. I was shocked. I haven't seen Bernard Shaw in so long. He's completely white now. His hair is white now. But Bernard Shaw, this is the great Bernard Shaw, who's retired from CNN, comes out of retirement, goes on CNN to bash the president. Bernard Shaw.
I was thinking that the critical focus of history will judge Donald Trump as a presidential
Steve Kane Show.
Walking from the White House through the tear gas lake in Lafayette Park to the steps of the Church of the Presidents, St. John's, and holding up that Bible would have made P.T. Barnum proud.
I love the birds in the background. Bernard Shaw. Bernie Shaw. Back in the days of Bernard Shaw, I never heard him utter an opinion. I don't recall. And he's another. So this idea that the media have changed, they haven't changed. They're just more out about their hate. That was, he calls Trump an aberration, a carnival barker there at the end. That's not something that's new with Bernard Shaw. He's always felt that way about Republicans, but now he's retired. The media has changed, and he can be out of the closet with, oops, I just ripped my headphones out of my ears. He can be out of the closet with the rest of them. Oh my goodness, Bernard Shaw. Isn't that a disappointment? Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed. All right. Good morning. Good morning, you're on the air. Yes, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, my wife, Kathy. Oh, hey, how you doing? Last time I saw you, you were sleeping when I left the house this morning.
CNN last night. They were absolutely beside themselves. I've never seen them like this. They were at Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon. First of all, they were telling each other they loved each other, which was bizarre.
Really?
They were absolutely beside themselves. They brought on David Gregory. They brought on all these old people to bash Trump.
David Gregory, I guess they're, what did they do? Go to a retirement home? David Gregory, Bernard Shaw?
The minute Trump did this, they started with Jim Acosta came on TV and said Trump was going for a photo op, and he cleared these protesters. The minute he said that, they started with this whole narrative. It started with Wolf Blitzer, and it led on all night long. And how he cleared the protesters, and how he did this just to...
all day long, the media were saying, where's the president? He's not doing anything. He's not doing anything. He comes out and does something, then they criticize him for doing something after they spent the whole day criticizing him for doing nothing.
Well, what they're not telling you is that, okay, Trump said he was going to come out and speak at 6:30. He ended up coming out about 6:45. Okay? They started clearing the area around 6:30. What they're not telling you is the curfew was 7 o'clock. So they would have cleared the streets anyway, because in all these cities, they start clearing the streets for the curfew. They want everybody home by 7. So they didn't tell you that on CNN, that they were clearing, that there was a curfew except for ordered to clear the streets for. Another thing, TMZ just reported that George Floyd had...
Oh my goodness. That's on TMZ? That's on TMZ?
said that he died from, obviously from the compression on the neck, and the officers, they were definitely complicit.
Mm. Wow. Wow. I don't see that on TMZ, so put that, tweet that, Kathy, and I'll check it out. I'll read that after the next break. Wow, that's something. So that you're saying that contributed. They're saying that may have contributed. Well, TMZ is Hollywood. TMZ is the Hollywood gossip. It stands for 30 Mile Zone. It's based out of LA. So that I consider TMZ is liberal Hollywood media. And if TMZ is reporting it, and they're also very credible.
Compression. So the officers did end his life. That's definitely been reported. However, the drugs in the system is probably exacerbated.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Now I wonder, fentanyl, does that affect breathing?
And it definitely affects your breathing because when they give it to me, because I have a lung disease.
Is fentanyl that Michael Jackson drug? Yeah, it's the one Michael Jackson. Oh, okay. Propanol. I think, yeah. Yeah.
They both are sedatives, and they both suppress your breathing and your lung abilities.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Your breathing.
Mm.
Can't give you a lot because you have a breathing problem, and it suppresses the breathing.
Wow. Well, that's some new information. Yeah. Mm. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In his death, but it will affect how this cop is charged, and it will affect the outcome of his.
No doubt. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's some information. All right, we'll tweet that so I'll read it during the break, but I got to run for a break. But I'll see you when I get home, Kathy. All right, take care. Let's take our break. Last break of the second hour. My name's Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
Attention seniors over the age of 65. In this unsettling time due to COVID-19, if you have recently lost your job or been forced into retirement and want to learn about all of your Medicare health insurance options, call Debbie and her team at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080 for a free review of your existing health insurance
I can see all of you guys.
and to receive a free no-obligation education on all of your Medicare options.
Steve Kane Show.
I Will Advisors are carrier neutral, which means they don't just represent one insurance carrier, they represent all major national carriers and will guide you through the confusing process to find the right plan for your particular needs. Free of charge. Call Debbie and her team right now. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470 WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network. Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back, everyone. People ask me all the time, how do you do it, Brian? How do you do it? You wake up in the middle of the night. I do 2 shows a day, and I've always got bunches of energy, people say, because they watch me on the YouTube. And the answer is simple. It's because... well, Dr. Mitch Matez, he's my doctor. Hey, Dr. Matez, how you doing? Dr. Matez. Did I lose? Oh, there you are. Okay, good. A new board. I think I might have hit the wrong button, Dr. Matez. You're on the air. Oh, I'm doing great. How are things going in the area of anti-aging medicine?
Great, Brian. They're actually exploding. more and more people are beginning to avail themselves of anti-aging modalities. Something we mentioned a little while ago, we have a new, not necessarily new, but a very, very upcoming popular treatment called peptides. Peptides are proteins, and these are proteins that most of which are native to the human body, and they are specifically designed to have various positive effects in the body. They are very synergistic with hormone therapies. They are peptides that help people get libido, help people get energy, help people curb their appetite, help people increase their appetite, et cetera, et cetera. These things are proteins. They're very easy to take. It's either tiny little injections in your belly or sometimes even pills. And they are really a very up-and-coming thing. You'll probably be hearing a lot more about peptides as time goes. And these are excellent therapies to help people get back to their old selves again.
Yeah, and you know, and Dr. Matez, one thing I've noticed, I've known you many, many years, you really keep up to date on all of the latest developments and treatments and other things involved in anti-aging medicine. A lot of guys, they get hooked on one thing and that's all they do, and you really keep up to date on things.
You know, really what's going on in Louisville that decade is we've begun to pay a whole lot more attention to health at a cellular level, as opposed to treating the entire body.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can remember you telling me in the past, in the future, and now we're there, because the things you're talking about right now, you used to tell me coming in the future that we'll be dealing with this and this will be, and we're there. So it's a field that's growing, developing with innovative breakthroughs, and of course, Dr. Mitch Matez, who brought hormone pellet therapy to South Florida, the originator of it in the South Florida market, is always up to speed on the latest medical developments in the field. Give him a call for a completely free consultation. You got to mention the Steve Kane Show for that free consultation. 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490. And online, hormonetherapybocaratone.com. All right, Dr. Matez, we'll talk later in the week. You too. Take care. Take care. Dr. Matez, give him a call. All right, so yeah, so this photo op meltdown. You know, my favorite was Jim Acosta attacking the photo op while he's standing in front of the White House, so there's a good visual. But I was watching Anderson Cooper. He had Caitlin Collins on, Anderson Cooper. And they're talking about Trump walking out of the gate of the White House and going across to the church. And Caitlin Collins, she's the other CNN White House correspondent. I was surprised she's there with Acosta. I thought she was only there when Acosta wasn't. Acosta better watch out. Caitlin Collins, she's a lot better looking, and she's getting a lot of TV time. I bet you Jim Acosta is very paranoid about Caitlin Collins. Yeah, she's younger, she's pretty, and she's all over the place. I mean, she's gotten a lot of stories over that. Well, anyway, so this is Caitlin Collins. She's talking on CNN with Anderson Cooper last night about the photo op and why he did it. Listen.
Sources are telling my colleague Kevin Liptak that in part the reason the president made this trip outside the gates of the White House, a really rare trip where you do not often see the president walk out of the front door of the White House, walk across Lafayette Square and come over here to St. John's, was driven in part that he was upset by coverage of the fact that he had been rushed to the underground bunker on...
Okay, so wait till you hear Anderson Cooper's response. Let me rewind so you can hear the whole thing. Anderson Cooper's response is staged and also priceless, so we'll get to that. But who are Caitlin Collins' sources, right? Now, Caitlin Collins is saying that her sources are telling her, you know, that the president did this because he wanted to look tough and like a man because he was rushed to the bunker. Who in the circle of Trump, who really is privy to the thoughts of Trump, would tell CNN that? Yeah, come on. You know, in the media, they have this racket going. This is the racket they have going. Their sources, it's like a priest in a confessional. Their sources are confidential. They'll never reveal their sources. If they never have to reveal their sources to anyone, how do you know they even have sources? All they have to do is say they have a source, and no one can ever compel them to reveal the source. So you really don't need sources, right? Yes, they have no sources. But anyway, let's get back to it. Caitlin Collins, Anderson Cooper, why the president walked across the street to the church.
The front door of the White House, walked across Lafayette Square and come over here to St. John's, was driven in part that he was upset by coverage of the fact that he had been rushed to the underground bunker on Friday night during those protests that you saw breaking out here.
Wow. Now this is interesting because Anderson Cooper had the bishop on. I wonder what the bishop buddy that you had to have permission to have a Bible and go to a church in her diocese. I would love to hear Bishop Buddy and her thoughts on Anderson Cooper taking the Lord's name in vain on CNN as he just did, because he just did it.
St. John's was driven in part that he was upset by coverage of the fact that he had been rushed to the underground bunker on Friday night during those protests.
See, right there? You think Bishop Buddy would take issue with Anderson Cooper taking the Lord's name in vain? I don't know, but listen to what he goes on to say, Cooper.
Part that he was upset by coverage of the fact that he had been rushed to the underground bunker on Friday night during those protests that you saw breaking out here in front of the White House. That is what sources are saying, Anderson. What part of the decision?
We are in trouble. This country is being led by a man.
He wanted to be seen outside the gates.
Of course he did. He was taken to a bunker, and he's hiding in a bunker, and he is embarrassed that people know that.
No, he's not. They burned down. They tried to burn down a building across the street from the White House. The White House was twice attacked this weekend. He's not embarrassed by going to the bunker. That's what it's for. Not embarrassed by it. And meanwhile, we're being told how safe it is, right? How safe it is. I'm hearing, I don't know what those explosions are in the background in D.C., and I'm hearing helicopters fly over and everything. It sounds like she's reporting from Baghdad back in 2004. But no, she's in the nation's capital, D.C.
Outside the gates.
Of course he did. He was taken to a bunker, and he's hiding in a bunker.
I was talking about Bernard Shaw earlier. Bernard Shaw. Do you all remember during the 1991 Gulf War when the bombing of Baghdad started? Bernard Shaw, Peter Arnett, and there was a third guy whose name I don't remember. They were reporting in their hotel room, and somebody knocked on the door, and Bernard Shaw was hiding behind the curtains in the hotel room. Remember that? It was live on CNN. As if the Iraqis weren't watching CNN to know Bernard Shaw was hiding behind the curtains, on top of the fact you'd see his feet at the bottom. But anyway, back to this.
Wanted to be seen outside the gates.
Of course he did. He was taken to a bunker, and he's hiding in a bunker, and he is embarrassed that people know that. So what does he have to do? He has to sic police on peaceful protesters so he can make a big show of being the little big man walking to a closed down church. And then, he always talks about the world laughing, that the world are laughing at the governors right now. They're not laughing at the governors. They're standing in horror over what is happening. The only people that the world is laughing at is the President of the United States. And this event, as I said, if it wasn't so dangerous and disgusting, it would be funny because that's right. It is so low rent and just sad. I plan to get home tonight and trying to be as calm and reasonable.
Now, sources are telling my colleague...
I rewound it, and I didn't mean to, and we were not done with it. Let me fast forward a little bit. I'm sorry, guys. I hit the wrong button there. I was getting all giddy.
In a bunker, and he is embarrassed that people know that. So what does he have to do? He has to sic police protesters so he can make a big show of being...
Now keep in mind, the peaceful protesters in front of a church that the protesters tried to burn down the day before.
The little big man walking to a closed down church, and then, he always talks about the world laughing, that the world are laughing at the governors right now. They're not laughing at the governors. They're standing in horror over what is happening. The only people that the world is laughing at is the President of the United States. And this event, as I said, if it wasn't so dangerous and disgusting, it would be funny because it's it is so low rent and just sad.
Low rent.
I mean, I plan to come tonight and trying to be as calm and reasonable as you know, and straightforward in just doing this hour of news. And this happened, and I just can't believe that this is what we have. This is the United States of America.
Well,
this is the president we have.
Yeah.
We wanted a disruptor. Well, yeah, that's what a disruptor. That's what disruption
It's
is.
so notable. But
Okay, so low rent. So Gloria Vanderbilt's son of the Vanderbilt family, who old blue blood, born with a humongous trust fund. He's talking about low rent. Everything's low rent to him, right? Because he's born rich. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Good morning. Hey Mike, you're on the radio. How you doing, Mike? I wonder what, when CNN was attacked in Atlanta over the weekend, I wonder what those inside were doing. Were they just going about business as normal, or were they concerned too when they were under attack, like the White House was Friday and Sunday night? I don't know what Cooper's talking about.
I don't know what he's talking about again. And first off, they're not laughing at the president. They're laughing at you, CNN. That's what they're laughing at, number one. Number two, it's not his decision to go into the bunker. Okay? It's the decision of the Secret Service to have.
Well, I think what we're going to... I heard Dick Cheney was in the White House on 9/11, right? The president was in Florida, GW. And he said the Secret Service came in and he floated to the bunker. They like picked him up and took him to the bunker. And I think when the story comes out in more detail, you'll find there was a similar thing happened Friday night with the president, the first lady, and Barron, the first son.
They would, if this was a Democratic president and all this stuff was happening, they wouldn't be reporting the news this way. Oh, everybody's laughing at the president of the United States. No, they're not.
You know, there was, when Bill Clinton was president, there were there were black church fires that they were calling arson. This was in the late 90s. Bill Clinton was president. Bill Clinton gave a speech, and in front of his podium, they had a charred piece of wood in front of him that they said came from one of the churches. What was that? Photo op. What about when Barack Obama sat down on the in Rosa Parks' seat on the bus and took a picture? What was that? Photo. That's what presidents do. It's not nothing wrong with it. I think it's great that Barack Obama took that photograph in Rosa Parks' seat, because I consider him to be the end of the civil rights movement. The completion of the civil rights movement is the election of a African American president, and that's a good thing. But these are all photo ops, and there's nothing wrong with that. Did you watch the president walk across the street through the front gate and come back live? Yeah. Okay, I thought it was just I've never seen a president walk through the front gate of the White House before, but on the way back, the media cut away. The pool photographer cut away. When he was coming back, you could see the security that was lined up with they had I guess they were military police or something with the shields, and he was walking. It looked like a royal procession, but it was real. And they cut away because they didn't want us to see the president and how serious business it was with the president under the current situation. President Trump going to that church yesterday, I compared it earlier to Bush at 9/11 with the firefighter in Bullhorn. It's very similar to that. It was that church is a historic American church. Every president has worshipped there, and the protesters tried to burn it down. And he wanted to go there and show that Washington is secure, America is strong, and our streets are safe. And it was a very important photo op. So far as the Bible, I couldn't quite make out what he said. They asked him about it. I think he just said he brought it over from the White House. It's probably a personal Bible of his and the Trump family, and he took it over there for the historic moment of having a family Bible part of it, which is, presidents get sworn in on their own Bibles sometimes so that the family have a family heirloom of the Bible that they were sworn in on, right? I mean, come on. I've never heard talk like this.
Caitlin Collins. You know, Jim, she's easy on the eyes, and, you know, and she may be as liberal as him, but she's
Oh, yeah.
not.
You think, and you know, she works for a lot less money. Do you think Jim Acosta, although would they pay a man more than a woman at liberal CNN? Do you think Jim Acosta likes Caitlin Collins, or does he hate her like the plague? What do you think?
He wishes that she wasn't there.
Yeah. She's getting all the stories. She's the one that Trump kicked out of the Oval Office a couple months back, if you remember.
Right, and
oh, someone just told me in the chat room that the Bible that the president went over there with, and I don't know, somebody just told me this in the chat room, so I don't know if this is true, just someone told me in the chat, but they said that it was his mother's Bible that she brought to America from Scotland. So if that's true, yeah, I would take a family Bible over too and be a part of it. So that was his mother's Bible? And if that is true, and I don't know that it is, I find it interesting he didn't make a big deal about it. Because he's not, he's got an image of the billionaire playboy, egomaniac, but that's just an image. It's his branding.
Right, that's his branding. But the thing is that would make sense. It's a family Bible and everything else. But again, this Caitlin Collins, I mean, Jim Acosta, we know what he is, and
yes. Oh, that she wants his job? Oh, yeah, she wants his job. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, Mike, I got to run for a break. Top of the hour. Thanks so much. It is, oh, my gosh, 3 minutes after 8. I'm late for the break. We'll be right back.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Any lab tests now of Boca and Coral Springs are the best labs to go to when you need quick and affordable lab work that's private and accurate. Don't go to those other labs where you have to wait hours just to be seen by an unfriendly lab tech. Everything at any lab test now of Boca and Coral Springs is first class. The labs are super clean. The techs highly skilled and professional. Plus their prices are the lowest you will find. Guaranteed. If your time is valuable, and I know it is, you cannot wait around to get your lab work. Any lab test now of Boca and Coral Springs are the places you need to go. You will be seen quickly with no appointment, no doctor's order or prescription necessary, in and out in 15 minutes or less. And they're always friendly and courteous. When you go to any lab test now of Boca and Coral Springs, you are putting your health care in your own hands. You are in control. They have every test you need, whether it's a blood test, urine test, drug test, STD test, or any other lab test. Any lab test now of Boca and Coral Springs have you covered. Any lab test now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto and Hillsboro, on the east side of State Road 7. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood, near the Coral Square Mall. Call any lab test now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any lab test now of Coral Springs, 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. Brian Craig here. Conservative Doug called me up live on the air to tell me about his experience at Friendly Tire.
I had 2 ball ties in the back of my Infiniti, so I called them up and I feel like I
Welcome everyone. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and if you're subscribed, click the notification bell. All right, click the notification bell. Most of you don't do that, so I load videos up all the time, live, recorded, my podcast, not just the radio show in the morning.
So they're not only half the price, but they're twice as good.
So you're a repeat customer over there at Friendly Tire. You bought new tires, right? So you bought new tires, because they also sell used tires, starting at just $30 for most sizes. But you bought new tires, and they were half the price at Friendly Tire than at the other tire shops around town. That is phenomenal, and came with a 60,000-mile warranty on the tires. That's great. And of course, Friendly Tire, they never charge you to mount the tire, balance the tire, or dispose of your old tires. The price that they give you are out the door and on the road. And
everybody should go there. I don't know how anybody could buy tires anyplace else. This guy is the best prices.
That's right. That's right. Listen, give Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire a call. His number, 954-977-9445. He'll give you a quote right over the phone, 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net, or you can just stop right in. The address is listed at stevekaneshow.com. 5415 Northwest 15th Street in Margate, and that's just a little north of Coconut Creek Parkway on the east side of 441 State Road 7. Well, Conservative Doug, thanks so much, and I'm glad you got such a great deal on your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. When is the last time you reviewed your revocable living trust? If it's been more than 3 years, it needs to be reviewed. Call attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. He will review your trust at no charge. With 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca, downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Welcome, everyone. Subscribe. Click that notification bell.
FLA 3782.
That way you get a notification every time I upload a new video. And I upload videos at least twice a day, sometimes more.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show, toll.
Welcome back. Third and final hour has begun. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. And, of course, we are live with you Monday through Friday from 6 until 9 a.m. with overnight rebroadcast midnight till 6 a.m., 7 nights a week. Monday through Friday, you can listen to the Steve Kane Show. Get this. Monday through Friday, you can listen to the Steve Kane Show from midnight until 9 a.m. That's right. And you can listen to us live on the radio on 103.9 FM, 96.9 FM, 95.3 FM, and AM 1470. Also, you can listen to us on the mobile app, iHeartRadio, the iHeartRadio mobile app, which is free to download to any mobile device, or the TuneIn app, TuneIn, both free. Search for our radio station call letters, WWNN. 2 W's, 2 N's. And yeah, I know, it's pretty good, isn't it? And you can put those apps on the Bluetooth in your car or listen in your earbuds and all of that stuff. So check it out. All right, welcome back. Third and final hour has begun. Did you guys catch Kayleigh McEnany's press conference yesterday? Chanel Rion from One American News, who still does not have a chair. They won't give her a chair. The press won't give her a chair. You know what? Chanel Rion will stand on her feet. Thank you very much. She doesn't need your liberal press chairs. They always have her at the back of the room because the White House press corps won't let her in. But Kayleigh McEnany, can you give her a chair? Maybe at this point she doesn't want a chair. Maybe Chanel Rion likes the idea of being the outcast without a chair in the back of the room. But and she's also the only person in there without a mask on. The rest of the media, I can't even hear them. You can't hear them because of the mask. Chanel Rion, no mask, no chair, but she has the best questions. So listen to this. This is Chanel Rion, and I know a lot of people, oh, One American News. One American News is awesome. I got the app, the One American News app. I have it on my TV. I have a smart TV. And you can download the app on your television, on your mobile device. It is spectacular. One of our listeners in the UK, Neil in the UK Neil, he lives in Northern Ireland. He has the One American News app. He downloaded, he watches One American News and gets all the information on America there, which is, I think, is awesome. So anyway, One American News' White House correspondent, without a mask and without a chair, she's in the Kayleigh McEnany press conference, and she asked the best question of the day. Here it is.
Chanel, is it possible that DC will be placed under martial law in order to protect these national monuments from further destruction? And second, under the Civil Rights Act of '68, will this administration investigate either members of Congress or political organizations who are funding or tied to Antifa moving forward? Okay, now that part at the end is the great part from One American News. Will they be investigating Antifa members of Congress who have connections to Antifa?
which is something that people have been talking about for a long time. She had the best question. That's why they don't give her a chair and they have her in the back. Now, I wanted to finish up with this photo op nonsense. So, Fredo's brother was on CNN last night, Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, and he's very upset at the president. Very upset. Now, again, you know, the city of New York, which is under the realm of the governor of New York, is under siege. It's been hit hard by coronavirus. It was the epicenter of coronavirus. Economically, New York City's just been devastated, and now this. And I don't know. I didn't hear any unkind words about those people that are tearing up the city, but he certainly has an issue to take with Trump. This is Fredo's brother, Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York.
What did was he called out the American military against American citizens.
Okay, now these are the citizens that are destroying the governor's flagship city of his state, New York City, right? These are the I guess that makes you a citizen.
That's what they did. They used the American military to push back a peaceful protest.
I know, and can you imagine? This is the governor. This is Fredo's brother. This was last night. The peaceful protest. They have been destroying the city of New York.
I wonder what channel he's watching on.
Well, maybe peaceful has a different definition these days. Maybe peaceful means violent and destruction.
Full of pieces.
Yeah, maybe.
They used the American military to push back a peaceful protest, which everyone watched on TV, just so he could have a photo op of walking to a church.
Okay, a photo op. Here, oh my goodness, a voice from the past. I can recognize you even with that mask on. I recognize you. Not as much hair as last time I saw you, but Al Knight just walked in. Remember, guys, remember Al Knight?
Al Knight.
The Al Knight. Last time I saw you, we were at sea. But anyway, we're out in the ocean. He was on our...
Al says he's still at sea.
Yeah, you know, or lost at sea. He's lost somewhere. Pretty lost with the mask on. Going to do surgery with that? So anyway, I lost my train. Oh, okay. So here's Cuomo attacking Trump for a photo op. Here you got a guy who held court for 3 months with this press conference every day at 11, and with the distancing between different people. He's at the head of the table. Everyone, you know, this bright red room and everything. He's been doing a photo op every day for 3 months for about 2.5 hours, 11 o'clock every morning. He's talking about photo ops? Give me a break. And peaceful, they've been tearing up his city every night for the past 5, 6, 7 nights.
You know, I heard one thing in the last 24 hours that caught my attention and that really was the most significant thing that I've seen in the last 24
I imagine it happened in the first 2 hours of this broadcast, something I said, right?
When else would it be? There's an old saying that I'm very fond of. Sometimes a banana is just a banana.
You have a lot of phrase. I didn't know if you were going to say, when you say there's an old phrase, I don't know if it's going to be a banana is just a banana. Figures don't lie, but liars can figure.
Right.
Canes come in all colors.
Yes.
What's another phrase of yours? You got another phrase. And tell them Steve Kane. No, I don't know. There's another. No, there's another.
By the way, welcome to the Gardens. I didn't have a chance. I got hung up in traffic here. I wanted to tell everybody. Welcome back to an old sponsor. A sponsor been with me forever and a day. The Gardens.
Well, the Garden, you know, Steve and I, a while back, you wanted to go and look at your incredible, I don't know, what do you call it? The mausoleum at the Gardens, is it a crypt that you have?
It's a crypt.
Let me tell you something. The pharaohs of Egypt would be envious of your final resting place at the Gardens because it is beautiful.
There's a story behind it. I'll try to keep it brief, but there's
yeah.
exciting things going on. In addition to the excitement at the Gardens, how long ago have I been with the Gardens? About 15 years ago.
Well, when the Gardens was under construction, we went over there and you picked out your spot. So I think that was like 05, 03,
well,
05.
The Gardens had wanted to before I had made my final arrangements at the Gardens. They wanted to come on as a regular sponsor, and with all sponsors, I visited them, before to get the lay of the land. and it just took my breath away. I've always been really queasy about the thoughts of death and dying. And,
Aren't most people?
yeah, but me a little more. I mean, it's what does they say? The last thing you do is the last thing you want to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, I go up there. It's a magnificent complex. There's the two major buildings, everything above ground, which is really nice. And
well, they have two beautiful mausoleums, a north building and a south building, I believe, if I got my directions correct when we're in there. The north building is for those of the Jewish faith, and the other side is for everybody else.
Mixed,
yeah, which isn't, and I got to tell you, I'd not been over to the gardens since you picked out your spot, and when we went over, what a beautiful place. And I was talking to my mother last night, and my grandparents are buried at a cemetery up in Ohio, which is an old cemetery. And they're like the ones in New York, and well, they've been there a long time, Steve. I don't even know if they're still there. They've been there so long, there's probably nothing there anymore. But and we were talking about it last night because there had been some people had gone in and done some desecration during the protest at their cemetery. And I was looking at it online where my grandparents are, and it looks like it's from
Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah. And I know up in New York,
Creepy.
those are.
That's what you always.
Yeah.
Whenever you think of
Sleepy Hollow is yeah.
Exactly
yeah,
right.
Sleepy Hollow. That's about right.
Weird and scary. And all
But
that.
the gardens is
Nothing like that.
I don't know, how would you describe the gardens in comparison
It's like
to
a palace, is the word.
Yeah.
So anyway, I saw this. They were showing me around, and I saw this place, and it just took my breath away.
That's the Trump train again, by the way.
And I got the information and all this kind of stuff. And before I left, I was so taken, I actually purchased a spot at the gardens. Actually, it's a double spot. I was married to Lori at the time, so it's for Lori and I.
Yeah, her name's still up there.
Yeah.
Well, when we went over to the gardens, I'd asked them.
That can be fixed.
Yeah, well, this was an interesting thing because when you bought this, your name is there and Lori's name is up there. Steve and Lori Kane together in life and love and
great
eternity.
Location. I mean,
yeah.
I got in on the ground floor, so to speak. This was right after they had opened.
Yeah, it was still under construction.
I really had my pick of the spots. And the one I
you got the best
right
one.
As you walk in the front door of the gardens, the north building.
Yeah.
And just look to your right, and there it is. You see it, Steve Kane, big letters.
You can't miss it. In fact, when you walk in, if you're looking straight ahead, your spot is stands out so much that you can read it out of the corner of your eye. And when we went over there, we were asking them, because Lori's name is up there. Do you have to take out the chisel? And they say, no, it's no problem. We can take Lori's name off and just have your name up there. It's no problem. But it's
the rest of it with that easy.
Yeah, right. But it's a beautiful place. And I got to tell you, when we went over there, it was during the construction many years ago. And when you picked out your spot, you know how to pick out real estate because there was nobody in there when you picked it out. You got the best spot in the whole place.
Just like in real estate, location.
Well, so listen, here's the deal. Go by the gardens and talk to them. And by the way, they'll also handle your pre-arrangement on your funeral as well.
Which is another important thing.
Yeah. Now their website is thegardens.com, and give them a call. The number is 877 PLAN, PLAN, 877 PLAN 561. Pretty easy to remember.
Oh, and what was the other thing I was going to say?
You didn't tell me, so I don't know. I can't read your mind. But when you go over, tell them Steve Kane's saying. Oh yes, if you this is something you certainly can do when you stop by the gardens, and you should go take a look at Steve's spot. Over there, you can ask them in the office. They'll take you right over. But
you can see it from the,
yeah, go to the north building. You'll see it right there on your right. You can't miss Steve's spot. It's very loud and everything else. And take a selfie in front of it, and then send it to me. Put it on Instagram and tag me on Instagram and tag the gardens and be a part of them. Well, when the gardens rejoined us. I came up with a line for the spot. I'm going to take credit. I come up with some good ones. Like in the Soul Authority, the Frankenstein shoes. That's my line. Here's another good one I came up with the gardens. Okay, join Steve Kane at his final personal appearance at the Gardens of Boca Raton because once you're there, that's it.
A big turnout.
That's right. That's right. But hey, listen, call the Gardens.
It got me over my hang-up about death.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind
It's a
of,
beautiful place.
I don't want to say I'm looking forward to it, but it's going to be a big party.
Yeah.
Everybody out there.
That's right. So again, and by the way, for those that don't know, Steve's in the will be in the Jewish. You're not there yet. You haven't moved in yet, but Steve will be in the Jewish side. And those of you that remember Adam Klatzoff, he's in the other side, in the All Faith building too. He passed away last year, and he's over there. So you guys will be eternity together across the road from one another. 877-PLAN. 561. 877-PLAN-561 is the number, thegardens.com. All right, so lots happening. Lots happening.
This was the one thing that struck me that I heard this morning. If you look at our fragile democracy as like a bucket that has no holes in it, it has to hold the water. And what happens when they spring a leak in that bucket? Everything has to kind of coordinate. The three branches of government, the legislative. I don't have to tell you this.
Well, you have to tell some of these liberals, they don't know.
The
Steve Kane Show.
legislative, the legislative, the executive,
And judicial.
and the judicial.
Yes.
Okay, and if everything is plugged and there are no leaks in the bucket, everything functions fine. Well, there's a big leak in the bucket that I found out. Actually, I was listening to this morning to what the coverage from last night, and it seems that when they get the cops make the arrest and they take them over to the jail, and evidently the judges are releasing everybody as they come in on their own recognizance.
Yeah.
Which means they just let them go. They don't even bother to take them into a cell.
Did they let them keep the brick when they let them go?
The thing, and they take the brick and they say,
They give them the brick.
Don't do that.
That's part of the personal property
Now,
they take.
you can see, once you get your mind around that image, it's not hard to understand why we see each morning the mess that's.
There's a literal rotating door, and they get out. A swinging door. What do you say? Rotating, swinging. Revolving door. Yeah. Well, they don't have revolving doors anymore. They used to have them. They
Well,
don't.
they
You know,
have them in
they're
Washington.
well, and they get out of jail. They've been in there maybe 2 hours, and they come out and brag, "Oh, it's no big deal. I went in 2 hours. I met some new friends. We got our bricks, and we're here." It's
Now,
yeah.
With all the problems we've got, if you just throw that one little thing in,
That's a big one.
and stop and think about it.
Yeah.
What more do you need for this thing to be a catastrophe?
Do they give them their Democrat voter registration with the brick when they leave jail?
Actually, with some
No.
of them are not registered yet, they sign them up. They
Yeah,
have one of those
exactly.
Vote by mail
Yeah.
things right
Yeah.
at the cell.
Yeah.
But I'm not kidding you. I mean, think about it.
No, someone asked. No, Steve's not leaving us. He's just made pre-arrangements so that when he does, it doesn't burden his family. People in the chat room are asking.
You
No,
got a plan
no,
ahead.
no, he's
That's
not leaving.
They call it pre-planning, and it's the best money you're
You're right about that. I've got this strange feeling this morning here, and it's like deja vu. And the reason is here we are. It's 2020, and it's like 1993 again. I got Al Knight, I got Rich Allen, I got you here, me here. It's just very strange. It's very strange. Who's going to come by next? Nat Traeger and Rashid Baith, Rick Sider. Well, Rick Siderman can't walk by, but
No.
I mean, it's just very strange. People I haven't seen in years that we were together with 30 years ago, all here. No, you're right. Oh, let's go to the phones. It's Sarah in Colorado.
Hey, Sarah, how are you?
Oh, one of the things that I caught when the president did his, he came out to do his speech and stuff, is that he pretty much laid it out to the governors and the mayors of these cities and said, it's sort of in your ball. You have to do.
Yeah. The court. Yeah, the ball's in your court. But I'll tell you, Sarah, this is an interesting thing because the media have all these sources they keep. Our sources tell us that the president is an insecure guy, and when he left his speech yesterday, he says, I'm leaving here and I'm going somewhere historic. The media had no idea. They were speculating on where he might be going. If they had, after they, by the way, had been clearing the street out front for 2 hours, if they had any sources in the White House press corps inside Trump's circle, they would have known where he was going before the press conference. So whenever you hear them say, my sources tell me that Trump has a small penis and he was in the bunker and he's over there, because they're all made up, or they would have known where he was going. It wouldn't have been. And you saw when they walked over there, it was so chaotic because, well, it was a church and they're liberals. I don't think they knew the way to the church, if you get my drift. But, you know, they have no sources. No sources.
That was just something else. And, you know, I briefly told you about the horse trailers and that they were attacking in Oklahoma. And now...
Well, you were telling me that that the protesters, was it they burned horses? Animal cruelty.
That video, the video, the red truck and the trailer, I just found out last night through my cousins that one horse in there died and one is seriously still injured, and they may have to put him down too.
Wow.
Horses were almost worth $100,000.
Wow. And where's PETA? Where are the animal rights activists?
When you need them.
Yeah.
Which is never.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sarah, it's nice there. You're getting all ready for the trip, dear?
She's already packed. Well, you know, what we're talking about is the Steve Kane cruise, which I believe that this is the fourth one. Yep. Is this the fourth cruise on the Celebrity Edge, December 6th?
It's the Trump inaugural celebration.
That's right, the Trump 2020 Victory Cruise on the Celebrity Edge out of Fort Lauderdale. And Sarah's flying in from Colorado to join us. And I bought new clothes. A few months back, I went out, I bought some new sports coats, some new shirts. I still got to buy a couple pairs of pants, but I bought some new clothes for this one. I got this. I got some really fancy stuff. Coffee. Well, the coffee's free on board, so you can buy it for us every day. Okay. Hey, Sarah. Take care. Thanks for calling. But yeah, listen. The cruise is still on December 6th. 7 days at sea on the Celebrity Edge. And
we didn't lose a single person.
No, we did not.
A single person. Everybody's calling. When do we take off? When do we
Yeah, and you know the Celebrity Edge. Just so you know, if you go to SteveCaneShow.com, you go to my YouTube channel too. I took a tour a few months back of the Celebrity Edge. It is the most advanced cruise ship out there, and it is beautiful. It is luxurious, and because of the global situation, there have been dramatic price drops on this cruise. I'm not going to give you the quotes because the quotes can vary based on your cabin and different things. So call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. He'll give you a quote. He was going over some of the price reductions with me yesterday, and wow. And by the way, those of you that have made reservations either on board or since and haven't touched base with Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot in a while, call him. And you can get the lowdown on these price reductions. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. We'll be right back.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Steve Kane. I'm sitting here with my good friend and my attorney, Barry Siegel of the Siegel Law Group. Barry, you offer a service called Elder Law.
Can you imagine that? How are they supposed to
getting up there in years?
Yeah.
I'd like to find out exactly what that is and when and if I need it.
Sure,
It's all the law. It's all the
Elder
state
law,
level.
think of it as asset protection. Now, as we age and get into our retirement years, the number one concern or threat
Who's the guy that
to
Newsom?
our assets
California
is the
guy?
cost of long-term care.
Oh man, did he turn on?
Care either at home, in an assisted living facility, or in a nursing home can be very, very expensive. And it can eat away at your assets. It can even deplete your assets to nothing. Imagine if you lose all your assets, you have to go into a facility and your spouse at home has nothing left. Or you may end up not having any assets left to leave to your loved ones. So with elder law, we are able to look at different government benefits that may be available to you or your spouse, such as Medicaid or veteran benefits. And even if you don't think that you're eligible for these benefits, you'd be surprised. That's what elder law attorneys do, is we help people who may not be eligible
It's like they've got an
at
army.
this point become eligible so that they can
Let me
protect
see if I
their
got any more
assets
sound bites.
for themselves, their spouse.
Did you hear the one of the
and their loved
bishop?
ones.
Well, it sounds like a really great
I'll play it
idea.
for you
I
again. It's a good
suggest you
one. The bishop of the
call
church
my
Trump
attorney,
went to.
Barry Siegel,
I'll play it again.
and,
It's a good one.
He will be glad to set up an appointment and explain everything.
Lady
to you
Bishop,
in
that's
even
all you
more
need, yeah.
detail. His number toll free 1-855-FLA-3782. Does my voice sound mention?
Better than yesterday.
Heard it on the Steve King Show.
It's not. I think one more day. Tell you the truth.
Radio. Just search for
We got to come back.
WNN.
All right, we are
back.
back. We've got some recording to do, and Steve's voice is little, sore throat. We've been yelling at the TV at the rioters.
Screaming at the rioters.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to. I played this earlier, but I wanted to play this for you again. The bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of the District of Columbia was on CNN, and she was outraged that Trump went to one of her churches, and I thought churches were for everyone.
Wait till Christ finds it.
So this is Bishop Marianne Buddy. She was with Anderson Cooper, who previously took the Lord's name in vain with another person, but this is the Bishop of D.C., and she's taking issue with Trump for going to the church. Now notice, I'll give you a little hint on this. She has a lot of criticism for Trump, none for those that tried to burn her church down a couple nights before. Yeah, yeah, here she is.
Everyone, hold on. We've got someone on the phone that we want to hear from. Marianne Buddy.
You know, this cracks me up. This reminds me of the days of Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson's on. He's interviewing someone. Oh, look who stopped by. Burt Reynolds just happens to be here. Oh, Burt, I'd sit down. You know, what a setup. Oh, look who we just happen to have on the phone. Bishop Buddy. Everything's so contrived. Anyway.
Everyone, hold on. We've got someone on the phone that we want to hear from. Marianne Buddy, the Bishop of the District of Columbia.
Steve King Show.
The church that the president just used as a photo op. Bishop Buddy,
Hold
thank
on.
you for being here. What are your thoughts as you saw what happened and as you look at these images now of so many Americans crying out in the streets for law and order that is applied equally to all of us, regardless of color, regardless of economic status?
I want to thank you for letting me be on be part of this conversation. Let me be clear.
Listen to this.
The president just used a Bible, the most sacred text of the Judeo-Christian tradition, and one of the churches of my diocese without permission.
Wow. So you have to.
Without permission.
I thought churches were open to everyone.
Permission for to read a Bible at a church.
And to go to a church, yeah. Yeah. Without her permission.
Without her permission.
Went to one of my church. I thought those were the churches of the people and of Jesus himself, but they are her churches, and you must have her permission to either have a Bible or actually go there. And she goes on and criticizes him for not praying. And, you know, he stood there in silence. He could have been praying to himself in silence. Let me tell you something about...
Was it a prayer approved by the bishop?
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard such an attitude from a bishop. But you know, I'll just say this.
Just to refresh my memory.
No.
This is your religion, right? You're Catholic, right?
Well, no, it would be our religion. It's Christianity, and she is not Catholic. She is Episcopal, which is the Church of England, which is, you know, Henry VIII. They left the true church, the Catholic Church.
The Pope's not responsible for
The Pope is not responsible for her.
I am so religious.
No. And why would you think Catholics have a woman bishop? They don't have female priests. How they can have a female
Because the Catholic
bishop?
Church has gotten so liberal.
No, she's Episcopal.
Oh.
And I know a lot of our Episcopals in the audience are conservative. There's two, and every major denomination in the United States, and by the way, the Catholic Church is not a denomination. A lot of people call that, but the Episcopals, like every other, the Methodist, there's two branches, the liberal and the conservative. She's obviously from not the conservative one. Oh, look who we have on the line, Steve. I'm like Anderson Cooper. Oh, look, it's Burt. No, we have Richard Pearl from Simply Natural.
Pearl. Richard, how are you this morning?
Good. I was just catching a little bit about your church speak.
No, that's all live.
Hold on. Exactly, exactly. Well, if they want to get more information on this, tell them where to go and who to call. Naturally.
Simply, naturally.
Right. Richard, good talking to you. We'll speak tomorrow, all right? Okay, we're back.
Do you want to go to the phones or?
Yes.
Okay, let's see here. All right, you're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh my gosh. He died. He walked by and waved and kept going, I guess. He just walked by the hallway. This is Rick that we spent. See, I tell you, this is the deja vu. This is the guy we spent Hurricane Andrew with that drank all the beer.
Drink the beer.
That drank all your before the hurricane hit.
Still ticked off.
Before the hurricane hit, that was for the hurricane. Yeah. Okay. All right.
What do you have for us? What do you have? Anything important?
Now listen, we're talking about criminality. This is your area, so tell us your thoughts. Yes, it was. Good morning. You're on the radio. Hello. Good morning. Oh, yes, Liberal Al. Like a fungus.
Yeah.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. You're not drinking this early, are you?
What did you call about?
He doesn't know. He's laughing.
Don't laugh. It's not funny. It's pathetic. What are you taking up my airtime? What'd you call about?
Oh.
I don't really want to hear Brian knows. I'll talk to Brian if I want to know what Brian knows. What did you call about?
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is interesting. So no, slow down. This is interesting. You witnessed police brutality. You witnessed.
Where were you when this happened?
Yeah, and when you reported police brutality to authorities, how did they respond? Because I know if I saw a police officer committing police brutality against females, I'd report it. No, we're not cutting in and out. This is you trying to get out of this. Yeah,
Come on, say something.
If we're cutting in and out, how did you hear me say the last part? You said that you witnessed police brutality yesterday. You witnessed police brutalizing a young girl. When you reported this police misconduct, how did the police handle it?
Girl, witness.
No, you said you witnessed. You said you witnessed. You just did he not say he witnessed?
Unraveling, Al.
All right, Al, you're very lucky. I
Get
let
off
you.
the phone, you jerk.
That's another one of your sayings. Yes.
No,
That's
that one's Bob.
Oh well. I thought he stole that from Pine.
Well, I stole it because it's the perfect. In
Oh my
certain
goodness.
circumstances, it's the perfect
Oh my
thing
goodness.
to move along with.
All right. You can't cough anymore, Steve. It's 2020. You're
on the air.
Go ahead. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, you're finished.
Al, one more time. You're done.
You want to be finished again?
He'll
Call
be
back.
and you'll be finished for good the next time. Oh my goodness. I just give people a little background on what's going on with Al. This is what Al likes to do. This is what Al likes to do. Just give you behind the scenes. He gets together. He gets together people around him, and he says, "Watch, I'm going to be on the radio." And he calls us, and he's all excited, and he has them listening on speaker, and then he gets humiliated. So now he's been embarrassed in front of these group of people that he's huddled around this phone.
He doesn't know enough to be embarrassed. He's,
Well, you know what? You might have a good case for that one.
if he had any idea how stupid he looks, he would never go on the air.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway,
That's true.
Moving right along.
Oh my goodness. Kamala Harris. This speaks for itself. This is Kamala Harris yesterday.
I think that Donald Trump has combined the words of George Wallace with Richard Nixon.
Yeah. That was his speech yesterday, and going to the church. What is George Wallace like about how he's behaved? What is Richard Nixon like in his behavior? Maybe they'll ask, because that's a good question, right? That's what I would ask, because that's a serious charge.
I think that Donald Trump has combined the words of George Wallace with Richard Nixon. When he talks about end it now and then dominate the streets, dominate.
Okay, end it now. He ended it, and then he walked across the street to show that it was ended. I mean, what is she talking
But the
about?
problem is he didn't end it because when these jerks got dragged up in front of a judge from the District of Columbia, the judge let him out.
They're doing the same thing. Someone called me in the first hour, and they're saying that a lot of these people that are getting jammed up in New York are people that were released because of coronavirus.
I'm sure there were.
Yeah. All right, listen, we're kind of messed up on our breaks in large part because of, I hate to even call him a caller because of Liberal Al, but let's take our last break and then we'll come back with the Gold Report and our final moments right after this.
0.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Adrienne Kane, Steve's daughter, and I want to tell you about my pillow mattress. I was talking to Dad and I was telling him I wasn't sleeping at night. I was tossing and turning all night long. I had an old, worn out, lumpy, bumpy mattress that was so uncomfortable I wasn't getting any sleep. A couple of days later, there was a knock at the door and it was a my pillow
Your voice is almost
I slept
back,
on it that night,
but
and ever since I've been sleeping the whole night through. No more tossing, no more turning, and when my alarm goes off in the morning, I'm up and ready to go and well rested. Give your kids, grandkids, spouse, or yourself the gift of a good night's sleep with a MyPillow mattress. Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. When you use the promo code KANE, you can save up to $300 off your MyPillow mattress. They come in all sizes, from twin to California king and every size in between. Go to MyPillow.com and be sure to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, and give the gift of a MyPillow mattress. Worth its weight in restful sleep.
We are chatting today with Frank, the owner of two magnificent Ace Hardware stores. One, Deerfield Beach, 365 South Federal Highway, about a quarter of a mile south
Right now,
of
calling him
Hillsborough,
now.
west side of Federal Highway. And the other, Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, half block west of A1A.
I can't turn them down too low because I'm telling you,
One of the things I
my
noticed
headphones
when I
more
was
important.
looking into Ace Hardware is that you're carrying Mary, such a
Mine
wide
is,
variety
for
of
me to
the
hear,
big
is more
brands
important
all
than
under
you to
one
hear.
roof. It's
And I,
astounding.
yeah, I'm running the controls. I'm running the controls. No, I gotta hear Steve Kane show. Hey, hold on. During the breaks, it's louder. If you have it all, take them off during the break. But I'm running the control. I gotta hear better than you.
All under one roof, all with
Hold on.
people that are experienced.
Steve Kane show.
How to use these products.
There are lots of Ace Hardware stores, but there
Okay,
are only two
did you get
that
the
are
audio I
advertising
sent
with
you?
The Steve Kane Show. We're talking about the
I
Deerfield
texted you the
location,
interview that we
quarter mile
did
south
on
of
Friday. Did you get it?
Hillsborough Boulevard,
Oh,
on
okay,
the
great.
west
Okay, I
side
want to
of
make sure.
Federal, and
Okay.
of course, the Beach
Hold on.
Ace Hardware, located at 242 Commercial Boulevard.
I talked to Lori about it. She's handling it. She told me.
Lauderdale by the sea. Very, very special location.
I didn't want to do it. I asked her to do it. I didn't want to.
to.
I'll tell you after. She is. She is. She is. She's got an appointment. Oh man, we are back.
All right, we are back, and this is the show.
And it's time for the gold report, Steve.
Oh man. Okay, boy, you never know what to expect.
Steve Kane show.
Things are riding high.
Hey, hold on.
In the wonderful world of precious metals, and to tell us all about it, and see how things are looking today, the man who knows more about precious metals than anyone I've ever met. 50 years advising clients on trends and movements in the gold, silver markets. And of course, I'm talking about none other than William Youngerman. William, what's it looking like today?
They're on hold. They're on hold. But hold on.
Closed out today at $1,738.80. That's after.
Wow.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be exciting, and of course, between now and next week we got Father's
Well,
Day.
actually, I was just looking. Today's the 2nd. Father's Day is on the 21st, so you have time to go to William Youngman and look at those watches.
They can pick up at a fraction of their true worth, will you? Okay, William is located at 150 East Palmetto Park Road. That's in Boca. It's the Bank of America building on the first floor and the lobby floor. And William is right across from the bank. If you want to reach him by phone, 1-800-327-5010, or go to the website at williamyoungerman.com. William, we'll talk to you tomorrow, all right? You too.
Now, if you're on hold, stand by. Before we go back to the calls, we're gonna touch base with Attorney Barry Siegel. Hey, Barry. Good morning.
Barry, how are you doing? Yes, it was.
How do you like the new studio, Barry? It's nice, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
I can almost see your office from the fifth story window, Barry.
Tell us what's new in the world of elder law.
Well, Steve, that happened to you, Steve. Steve got
exactly what happened.
What happened with your inheritance when you were young? Tell Barry.
Minor inheritance, and then I'm going back 30, 40, oh God, I don't want to think how many years. My Uncle Jack passed on, left me $50,000.
And back then that was probably like 150.
Which I went through in, probably took me about 6 months.
How much of it went to the track?
Most of it in the Gin Rummy Club.
The Gin Rummy Club.
But whatever it is, I wish I had it back to learn again in a less expensive way.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Oh yeah.
Little things mean a lot. There's no question of that. If you want to get a hold of Barry, there is no charge for that consultation. You can reach him toll free at 1-855-FLA-3782. The number also on SteveKaneShow.com website. Barry, good talking to you. We'll speak to you soon, all right? You take care, and we're back.
Yeah, let's take some calls. We had Steve in Royal Palm. I don't think we've talked in a while, Steve. How are you busy during a global pandemic? Well, I'll tell you this. One thing I've noticed, because I've been watching a lot of CNN lately. Just because Trump is doing so good, I like to hear the reactions to it, like yesterday.
Well.
Yeah, he's doing well, and they're good.
Doing well by doing good.
That's correct. And it seems to me that COVID-19's been wiped out. I have not seen Fauci on TV with any concerns on CNN that
I think they've dumped him.
that the protest violating social distancing guidelines may result in a spike in coronavirus infections in New York City. I haven't heard any talk about that on CNN, and it's been 7 nights of this.
If anything would merit a spike, if the theory is correct, you would think it would operate here.
Yes. Wear masks. Well, that's great. That's just what we want. Great job, Fauci. He's saying all criminals should wear masks so they can't be identified. Is that what he said? Yeah. Good move, Fauci. What an idiot thing to say. Yeah. This interesting thing, because when these
You can burn down the building of their choice.
when these protests were going on a couple years ago, there was a lot of talk that at political protests, people shouldn't be allowed to wear masks. Remember, there's about a year or two ago, there was a lot of talk during the Occupy Wall Street and these different things, Charlottesville, and now everyone's being commanded to wear them.
It gets a little confusing.
Well, a couple things I want to say something about you. I got a question for you personally, Steve, Royal Palm. But De Blasio's daughter was arrested a couple nights ago at a protest where they were burning police vehicles. And he came out yesterday and said he was proud of her for being involved in a protest where they're burning the police cars. He commands those police whose cars were being burned. But you just went to New York and came back to Florida? I thought New Yorkers weren't allowed to return to Florida so easily. What happened when you returned to Florida from New York?
Are you calling from your...
Are you in isolation for 12 days?
In isolation?
Oh. No. Were you told when you re-entered Florida to isolate? I don't know. I thought workers were being told at the airports to isolate.
Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, but were you told by anyone that you're supposed to isolate when you return to Florida? You came back from the city. Well, I thought that Governor DeSantis, you were supposed to be told at the airport.
They're supposed to be monitoring you.
The troopers weren't at the border when you came in from Georgia? Oh, you had. Oh, this is interesting. You have Florida plates, so you got away with it. If you would have had New York plates, you might have been stopped by the troopers. Well, I think it's reckless to return from New York City right now.
New Yorker's going to stop rioting.
Yeah. Really?
In New York, unless
We're out of time. Listen, we're out of time. So call us earlier tomorrow.
We'll pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
On behalf of my partner, Brian Craig, I'm Steve Kane. Presumably, you know who you are. See you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. God bless America.
Attention seniors.
Hey, hold on. Don't go anywhere, guys. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere yet.
Due to COVID-19. If you
Don't go anywhere. Just, I want to show Steve how many people are in the chat, because I know a lot of people bug out at the end. Everybody, just press 1. Can you see the chat? Just press a 1 in the chat.
For a free review of your existing health insurance.
Now they won't do it. They're all going silent. Press 1. They won't do it because I want to show you how many people are in the chat. There we go.
Which means they don't just represent one insurance carrier.
Can you see all the people in the chat?
National carriers. It will guide you through the confusing.
All right, do it again, guys.
Right.
These are all the people in the chat.
Free of charge. Call Debbie
in the chat room while we're on the air. Keep doing it.
753-8080. 954-753-8080.
I know. Steve can't see the chat when we're on the air. Yeah, because I'm looking at the chat. All right, guys, take care. Make sure you subscribe. All right. All right. See you later.